Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Information Man Show. I thank you all that are coming into the chat room. Thank you for coming over. If you've heard about this stream today, I want to thank everybody. Make sure you share this stream today. We have the Empowered Esquire TV with us. We have Brother Max of Max World TV with us. He's been watching, examining, and assessing this issue as it relates to Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy. He goes by so many different names, I can't even figure out which name to go with sometimes. But we're going to examine this because we have a lawyer, a real lawyer, legitimate lawyer, who's going to give you the legal context. And Brother Max has some explosive news to also give you all today. And I also want to thank everybody out there who'll be watching this program today, both on Facebook. Of course, I'm on Roku TV as well. So those of you who have your TV packages, you have Roku TV, check us out there. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank Brother Ben, who's brought me on board of the BS3 network. I want to thank folks that are watching in Facebook and all the other social medias out there today. We're going to definitely examine this, get to the point, break some stuff down, and I hope that you get something out of this particular broadcast today. I am your host, Information Man. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit the bell notification.
You are listening
and be a part of the family.
Man. Please
over here
sure to subscribe to his channel.
We try to examine everything, and the Empowered Esquire has been a regular guest on this show, giving us great legal analysis. You can find other videos on this channel where she has given us great analysis, but most importantly, in the description of this video today, you will find her link to her channel, and I want you to subscribe to her channel because she goes into deeper analysis on her channel as well when it comes to these legal issues. So everybody out there, I give you a clap. I thank you. Let's get started right now, folks. Peace.
Tell the truth.
Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Information is power. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power. Information is power.
Okay, everybody, thank you for your patience. Hope everyone is doing well again. We're going to get it right now. I've got dynamic guests waiting for us right here. We're going to go with, we've got the Empowered Esquire. I want to give her a clap as I bring her on. She's here, and here they are. We got Brother Max World TV, and of course, the incredible Empowered Esquire TV. And hey, I'm glad you all were able to make it on this broadcast today. I really appreciate both of you being here, especially you, Empower Esquire TV. I think I contacted you about this maybe a week ago, hoping to bring you on to get your analysis as you can only do it. And how are you doing today, my sister?
I am wonderful and blessed. Thank you for having me, Info, and shout out to you for your talent and your production value. Man. Your info's always like, I'm backstage at, the Jimmy Kimmel show or something.
I did the best I can, but the information is what's really drives the show, and great folks like yourself bring the type of content and information that we need. So I thank you for being here. Brother Max, no need. I mean, you don't, everyone knows who you are. You've been on this case about this whole situation. But for those folks out there who may not be familiar with you, let them know who you are and where they can find you too, brother. And clap to you as well.
Hey, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. And like Empowered Esquire said, I'm blown away by this production. I do feel like I'm on I'm on Jimmy Kimmel or a late night show or something. But I'm just one man
Appreciate
with an
that.
opinion. I'm a vlogger. I vlog about different topics. I just so happen to fall into this storyline with Nature Boy because I'm interested in cults and things like that. So it's just a storyline that I've been following for many years now. So yeah, but you can find me at Max V World Media. You just type in Max V World on YouTube. You can find me. Thank you for having me.
Okay. What I'm going to do, I will be dropping your link into the description of this video, but I would like the mods in the chat room to drop the brother's link into the chat room as well. And especially those that are already mods, that are mods in his chat room, that are mods over here, drop those links so that people can go over and support both their channels. These are fantastic content creators that you have up here and people that put it down 110%. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to start. I'm going to give you center stage, counselor, because I want you broke this down on your channel about what's happening with this man. People know him as Nature Boy. He's coming up with this 3 God nonsense. But we know that his real name, if I'm not mistaken, is Eligio Lee Bishop, if I'm correct, counselor. But let folks know what are some of the legal, what have you been able to dig up legally as it relates to his case? As I put this on the screen right here, as you see his charges, we're not going to say that word out loud, folks, but we're going to say R. We know that he has an R charge, false imprisonment. And then, of course, there was transmission of sexual explicit video, I believe, on their Twitter. And we were talking earlier backstage about what they can do to make Twitter pull up any transmissions that they believe that they deleted. And so with that said, counselor, you have the floor.
All right. Well, hello to everyone. I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. Hi to Max, my fellow guest as well. And of course, shout out to Info. So I'm just going to dig right in, kind of clearing up what I have seen to be some of the misconceptions in regards to the charges here. So the most misconceptions I've heard thus far has to do with the charge for prohibition on certain transmissions. There has been a lot of back and forth about what that means and, what's the source of that law and blah, blah, blah. So here it is. The prohibition on transmitting certain types of materials really is just a fancy way, a legalese way of saying revenge, PORN. Is that okay, Info?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Georgia has a law against revenge, PORN. So in other words, if you're with someone and you tape them or you take a picture of them that is intimate or nude, and you have that picture because you're with them at the time, and then later on you're no longer with them or something takes place and you want to get back at them by releasing that picture or that video or sending the picture or video to someone else, in the state of Georgia, that is illegal. So
Yes.
the law itself actually says, if you look in the Georgia Code, it's in Chapter 11, and the law actually says that all people in the state of Georgia are prohibited from electronically transmitting either a photograph or a video which depicts a person in any form of nudity without their permission. It also goes on to say that it's still illegal to do this even if the picture isn't real. So, for example, if, Nature Boy took someone's head and put it onto someone else's body, right, and then sent that to someone, that would still be illegal anyway. So the allegation in that charge, and there are 3 counts, I believe, of that charge. So they're either alleging that he did that transmission 3 different times, or that he transmitted 3 different types of nude pictures. I'm not sure which one they're referring to, but we know that there's more than one count there.
Max, may I ask you, and I want to shout out to everybody in the chat room that's here. I want to shout out Jazzy in particular, because I was over in her channel today, Max, and she gave me a big shout out and told everybody to come on over today. But we got Miss V in there, Life with Magical Journey, Queen I Know I Am, Love to Travel with Wave, Indian Exposed Investigations. Just a lot of people coming in. Queen I Know I Am. Some of my regular folks are in there too. Mods, Kelly's in the house. Vanessa Hall, Hood Therapy, Natural is in the house. Sexy Star, thank you for coming over. Much respect to you. Daniels is in the house. We got Let Me See Your Transcripts. Thank you for being here. Patora Afro. Just many Blue Rain. This is a lot of great folks. I'm going to give you a clap right now. And periodically, I will shout the audience out in the chat room as much as possible, but the information is very important. But Max, is there anything you would like to add to what the Empire Esquire has just said? Because the players. Right. If there's anything additional that you can add to what she said that may not have been said in terms of the players that you're familiar with.
Well, the main player is Nature Boy, Eligio Bishop. He's the main player. He is the founder of Carbonation. It used to be Melanation, but now it's Carbonation. As we know, he's currently being held in DeKalb County. I just wanted to say, as far as the charges, there is a search warrant for his social media, Twitter and things like that. And they are going after those cloud files. So if he tried to clean up anything on Twitter, they're actually going for it. So there's an affidavit out there, for that. So, and
okay, man, let me ask this question of the counselor, the Empowered Esquire. Max has said many times on his channel that the followers of this, I call him a coat, need to be tread lightly in the way they keep coming on social media, whether it be Bigo, YouTube, whatever, running their mouth off. Because Max was saying that, hey, they're probably looking at social media, combing, getting evidence, digital evidence as much as they can. You were a prosecutor before. Is that what prosecutors do when in cases like this? Do they look at the social media, dig up what's going on in these social media streets to kind of use that digital evidence in cases like this?
Absolutely. Social media is usually a treasure trove for prosecutors. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you are living your life on social media, i.e., there's nothing about your life that is private, you may want to give that a second thought. The very, very first thing that any diligent prosecutor is going to do is go to every single social media account. I used to have a list and I would just go through each. I'd first go to Facebook. I'd then go to Instagram. I would go to Reddit. I would go to Yelp. I would go to Pinterest. Then I would go to Twitter. Then I would go to, I know there's a few I'm forgetting, but I had a list, put it that way, right? So
Mhm.
a diligent prosecutor has an entire list of social media, even some sites that you wouldn't think of, that they are going to go on and search for the defendant, search for the defendant's known affiliates, their known friends, you know, the family members, and take a look. I mean, why not? And they may find something that could be useful to them.
Wow. Wow. What about his past actions? I put up here earlier. Let me see if I can find what I had up here a little bit earlier. Let me see. In 2009, he was arrested for forcefully entry in Georgia, and 2 years later, he faced charges of theft and was arrested for aggravated battery. Are they looking at some of his misdeeds in the past? Of course, Max has said on his channel that he did a lot of misdeeds in Hawaii, where he was booted out of there for mishap behavior. And of course, in South America, he was also booted out as well. And so this man has a history of a lot of derelict behavior. And you see here one of his things that he was charged for, but he has been slick in the past, because Max was saying that he has gotten out of jail for charges in the past. Do you think that this time he's not going to be able to slip out of there? I know they've denied him bail, and he has past transgressions. What are your thoughts, counselor?
Well, I will say the denial of bail, according to the judge that made the ruling, she was not considering past deeds or any potential past arrests. She specifically stated, you know, I'm not granting bail because of these charges. And I kind of walked through when I did the breakdown that there are certain types of charges that are considered to be just so serious, so heinous, that immediately, if you're being accused of that type of charge, you pose a threat to society. And so in a preliminary bail hearing, usually with certain types of charges, the person will not be granted bail. So they haven't mentioned that yet, but I will say this: when it comes down to considering his history, considering his character, and also considering what kind of plea deal he may be offered, they will look at past arrest, any potential past convictions, any prior bad actions, even if he wasn't convicted of some of these things.
Okay. Max, is there anything you want to add or any questions you want to ask to the counselor?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a breaking news. I'm staying on top of this. Some of the members appear to have left camp, and there's rumors that they're possibly in Mexico. Solar is one of them. I'm trying to get confirmation on Musa and others, but as of right now, Solar has left the camp. He's no longer there. I'm not sure what happened within the last 48 hours, why he broke camp, but he appears to have left, and I believe he's out of the country. My question is, since some of the members have left, is it possible that the state will subpoena them to come in and testify in behalf of Eligio Bishop?
So if the state was going to subpoena them to testify, it would not be on behalf of the defendant, but the state could subpoena them to testify if they think that they have information that might be useful. I will say this, though: with a state prosecution and a witness that has fled the country, they would have to be extremely essential to the case. If they feel that they can build their case with perhaps their victim and Twitter documentation and social media documentation, they'll probably leave it at that. For example, one of the reasons that R. Kelly was acquitted, you know, back in the day with that first trial was because the witness had fled the country, and that was a state case. So we have to remember that the state and a state prosecution has less resources than a federal prosecution. So they're not very likely to, because remember, if they subpoena you, now they're responsible for making sure that if you don't answer the subpoena, they go and get you. That's costly, right? So they will try to build their case without them and really will only subpoena them if they really can't do it without it.
Now, important date is May 6th. He's due in court again May 6th for another bond hearing. Now, do you think there's more charges possible that could be for the other members? Do you think they could possibly charge them if more evidence, as they're digging right now for the evidence? Do you think more charges could come?
It's definitely possible that perhaps some charges emerge with some of the quote unquote members being accessories, either before or after the fact. Maybe even some of the members took place in some of the alleged false imprisonment. Because I would imagine if this person was imprisoned in a home with the members of Carbonation, if they were willing to help this person leave, then the person probably would have been able to leave. I think that's just a logical reasoning. So it stands to reason that perhaps some of the other members were a part of detaining this person and not allowing her to leave.
So, Counselor, may I ask as well, because Max has broke this breaking news as it relates to, what is his name? Musa, who left? Who's the name of that individual who left?
They go
and went to Mexico.
They go by Musa and Solar.
Musa and Solar.
Solar, he left, but
he left for
on the others.
Yeah. He left for Mexico allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the question though, based on what the counselor is saying here. If these individuals were involved in holding her, keeping her from not leaving the house, and now he then jumped himself over to Mexico allegedly, I know Mexico has laws. Me and Max were talking about this before you came on, Esquire, that Mexico has laws when it comes to bounty hunting. But when it comes to law enforcement in America, looking for someone who may be a fugitive, scouting from the law, what could the courts do in Georgia are they going to go have someone look for him? Or would they just say, hey, he's got a warrant out for his arrest. Whenever he happens to come back into the state, we're going to snatch his behind. What are the ramifications of that? Because for all you know, he could have been one of the ones involved in holding her from leaving the premises.
So that would depend again on the resources available, which is why I was saying I doubt that with a state prosecution, they would go this far. But with federal prosecutions, they have reached out to the federales and said, hey, we have this person that has done or is being accused of rather these crimes, and these are the charges. And they've been able to work out with the federales because at the end of the day, Mexico has enough of their own troubles and issues. And so if they have someone in their country they think could really be a danger, it's a mutual benefit, right? The U.S. wants the person and Mexico doesn't want the additional liability and issue. So in the past, the federales and law enforcement in the U.S. have worked together to apprehend certain people and bring them back. But to my knowledge, that has usually been federal prosecutions. I really haven't heard of a state prosecution that stretched that far.
Okay, let me just say this, because even though it appears to be obvious to people to understand what it is when you hold someone against their will, but can you give us the legal term? Because obviously he's going to be charged under the legal terms of this. What is the legal term for holding someone against their will? Because some people may think, oh, well, all I did was just stand next to the door. I didn't put my hands on the person, but I kind of, you know what I'm saying? What's the legal position for holding someone against their will?
So I snickered a bit when you said that because it was one of those worried snickers, like, it worries me to think that people really believe that if they stand in front of a door and prevent a person from leaving, what they're doing is legal. No. False imprisonment does not require force. You don't have to hit someone. You don't have to hold someone down. You do not have to injure someone to be convicted of false imprisonment. False imprisonment is very simple. It is a person wants to leave a certain place, and there is another person that is preventing them from leaving. That's it. It doesn't mean that they hit the other person. It doesn't mean violence occurred. All it means is one person wants to leave, and the other person is preventing them from leaving.
Okay. Now, I had an interesting question that someone and I wish I could pull her up on the screen, but I think I know what it is. It's the PP loans. And we've all seen the video footage from the news. I think it's News 11, Live 11 in Atlanta, because they've been on it pretty strong out there in Georgia. The PP loans, the fact that he's been accused of taking loan money and taking money from some of the members of his, I'm going to say it again, cult. Can you give us the legal ramifications of this PP loan if this is one of the things he'll be charged with potentially or possibly?
So he could be. Now we would have to, of course, know more details on, what were the names used for these PP loans? What were the alleged businesses? He could be charged with violating the regulations of the PPP loan. However, that's a federal prosecution. So it's, again, very important to remember that there is a difference between state prosecution and federal prosecution.
Okay.
The PPP loans are federally regulated. So that isn't something that this prosecuting office would be doing. That isn't something that would be brought into this case, at least not as a charge. Now, let's say that the federal government decided to swoop in and charge him with the PPP loan fraud. Then that federal prosecution could be mentioned in this prosecution, possibly. But this is a state prosecution, so it would not involve the PPP loan unless, because we know each state has their own funding as well. So I have to add this caveat. Unless, what's his name again? Baba G. He uses so many names. We'll say Nature Boy.
Yeah, he goes by so many names. It just makes me.
Now he's three guys.
Unless Nature Boy applied for a Georgia state relief fund, right? Some sort of state of Georgia COVID relief for businesses that have been affected. That's the kind of thing that the state of Georgia might say, let's look into that. But the PPP loan in general is a federally regulated system.
Okay. Max, you have anything you want to?
Yeah, there was information that was put out there that allegedly it's a young lady in the camp named Eligio. They possibly could have taken a loan out saying that she has a hair business. So that was put out there. I know information was sent to me, but I couldn't substantiate it. But that was put out there that there was possible loans taken out. And yeah, and there was other incidents in the past where members have come along and given him money. Even he said on video, when you come, you have to empty your cup, meaning that you have to put into the pot. So there was a lot of members that provided him money throughout the years. There was even one member that provided a couple of $100,000s to him. So yeah, there's a whole history of money. And I had a question. I was like, whoever is in charge of their financials, maybe possibly in the future, they could be in some hot water too, because they are taking care of the financials part of the cult. So whoever that is, they, since we're talking about PPP loans, that could be a potential federal case in the future. Whoever is in charge of their financials could be on the fire as well.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
In terms, let's talk about, Max. If I could play a little bit of this through my system, and I hope this works. Max, you did a video on your channel, and we hear them, and people are familiar with this. We hear them talking to Eligio Bishop, and you can obviously tell that he was, and you said it yourself, that he was out of his 3-guard character. He went back to talking like a normal guy.
He went back to Eligio.
When, who's the guy that you were talking about that was saying, but you ain't got nothing to worry about because you God.
That was true.
That was who?
True.
That was true.
Oh, Ace.
And
he
then
goes back as Ace now. His new name is Ace.
Ace. And then after he said, well, you God, you ain't got nothing to worry about, it was obvious that the act was.
No, he said, you God.
You God. You God. Yeah, but then at that point, it was obvious that Nature Boy, Eligio Bishop, was out of character, and he said he got back down to earth, and he said, "Yeah, but I'm in this situation right now."
Yeah, he was
I'm
referring
not
to-
quoting him.
He was referring to the status of his case. He said, because of the status of my case, I could be facing, I'm in harm's way while I'm in lockup. And that's when Ace, he goes by True. He goes back. His original name was Ace when he first arrived.
Ace,
in camp.
okay.
But
Well,
he was like your God at that point. And he said, well, I know I'm God, but I still have to deal with what I'm going through in here.
right. So let me play a little bit of this. This is audio from your channel. Let's play the audio right now.
Yes, sir.
This is just another way to show us another obstacle we can get over. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less than that. We're going to get through this and we're going to be like, damn, another one. Another obstacle.
Easy. Look up to visiting hours and they show them girl.
If it come down to that, yeah, we're gonna make sure you all the way straight. We're gonna put something together on you know what I'm saying, on our behalf. No, I ain't talking about just that. I'm talking about we're gonna put us some together to show how who Natiri really is. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna pull all them videos and all that stuff. Yeah.
Because that's no evidence and nothing for those.
And we'll testify.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, they took the camera.
They took pretty much all the electronic equipment.
All the evidence.
They left one laptop and one iPad.
And the laptop got information on it.
It's your laptop.
Your laptop's the one that got left behind, but they didn't take the hard drive, so we have all the knowledge stored.
Oh, so you got all the knowledge stored?
Yeah. They just took the actual frame. They didn't take the actual information.
So nothing's on the camera.
Yeah. On the camera?
Was the SD card in the camera?
The SD, we cleared it like yesterday or 2 days. Like it was only footage from today. Yeah, so we got all that. Yeah, we should have all of that.
We got our footage.
Well, it was. You got your hard drive and shit?
No, they took the laptop and the hard drive.
They took your laptop and hard drive.
Yeah.
But you hear these bogus ass charges?
Yeah.
Them charges bogus.
That's sad that she would take it to that degree.
All right.
Nobody.
Let me stop it right there because the council, the Empire Esquire TV, you heard the audio. They're actually on their phones talking to him, saying things about, do you guys have this? Did they get this? Make sure, they're saying all these things and they're putting it right out there on social media. I don't know if this was Beagle that they were doing this on. Max, you can clarify that for us. But the most important thing is, how can this be used against them? Not only Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, but also the implication of his cult followers, how they can implicate themselves into trouble as well, because I don't know if it's aiding and abetting, but it sounds like they're trying to hide something and they're putting it right on social media, which has to be the most bonehead thing that you could ever do. What do you think, counselor?
As I listened to that phone call, I thought, I think I mentioned this to you earlier before we went live. There's something is just absolutely wrong with that phone call. So at this point, I cannot imagine that people are not aware that when you speak to someone who is incarcerated, the phone call is being recorded. I mean, that has to be something that we all know, right? It has to be. I also was telling Info that in the state of New York, you're actually warned before, as the conversation is beginning, they warn you, hey, this call is being recorded. I'm not sure if they do that in Georgia. They probably do, though. And even if it doesn't happen before the call, at some point, in some jails, you'll have a little sign posted right by the phone. And the sign will say, your calls are recorded. So at some point, I'm certain that he was informed, and by he, I mean Nature Boy, that his calls are being recorded. So the fact that he is willing to go into these conversations with them about evidence and what the law enforcement took when they got there is insane to me. And it may actually just be for attention. It may be.
Okay. Well, go ahead, counselor.
I just want to add quickly before I forget. they mention evidence that was left behind. Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then they also mentioned that they deleted things. Again, doesn't make any sense. So unless they're totally devoid of a brain, unless instead of a brain they have like an empty room with a rubber ball bouncing around, I don't understand what they're doing. It is definitely detrimental, and it may be for confusion and attention.
Okay. Everybody in the chat room, Reliable, Kyle, everybody that's in that chat room, I want to thank you for coming over and listening. I love to shout people out, but I think the information that we're getting is very vital, but I'll do the best I can. I mean, it's a lot of people in there. I thank you all for coming over and being a part of this today. Max, now I want to go over to you because you said something on your video earlier today before you came over here today. And you said, this is the question. I wonder if Nature Boy even knows that that his followers were goofy enough to be talking to him on these phones while putting this on social media. What are your thoughts about that? Because you brought that question up on your channel.
Yeah, he was aware of it because he was saying that, get the word out there that he's innocent. And he was aware that they were on Bigo at that time of that phone conversation. They were streaming on Bigo. They were streaming on Instagram Live, and multiple people were recording it. So yeah, he was aware of it because he was saying, I'm innocent. He said, make sure then he also inquired that is he getting a lot of love out there? What's going on? It was like he mentioned, the vloggers and stuff like that. He was well aware of it. And also to note, during that audio, when he called multiple times, the recording said this conversation is being recorded. It said it, but they didn't care. And but yeah, he's well aware. And he was also talking to some other people on Bigo at that time, talking about how he's innocent. But yeah, he's well aware that they were streaming it. And he wanted them to do it because he said he wanted them to hold him down, get the word out there, and the message out there that he's innocent. So yeah, he was well aware of it.
Okay. This is a question I'm very curious about. I want to ask of the counselor. Me and Max had a conversation where we talked about, you have these YouTubers or people who come along on social media and all of a sudden they have this huge following. And the question we always ask is, and we ponder to ourselves is, why are they here? Who sent them? And what is their purpose? And then we always ponder about who first introduced them to us. Could it happen down the line? Because I know that YouTube is taking a lot of heat after what happened with the James character, which I'm hearing that in the Biden administration, they're thinking about going into the Communication Act and changing some things, because I think YouTube has a protection. There's a protection clause where YouTube can have people on these kind of channels where things are happening, because there are things that has happened with their videos where you see him having women fighting each other, sick stuff. And YouTube can simply say, okay, they're bad people, we get rid of their channel, but YouTube doesn't get held accountable. But it looks like the Biden administration wants to change something where now platforms like YouTube and can be maybe possibly held accountable down the line. And then what happens with that is that there's a ripple effect towards the content creators. So what responsibility, maybe this is a judgment question, do we have as content creators when we knowingly know that we have people like Nature Boy who are doing the sort of sick coated things that they're doing, and we're promoting their, not people who are talking about what they're doing is wrong, but people that have kind of promoted them and subscribe to their channel and bring them on and prop them up. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. So I wanted to mention, before I get into YouTube and all of that.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that Max had said, maybe it was you, Info, or Max, one of you had said that Nature Boy's biggest thing was, get the word out that I'm innocent.
It was Max. Yep.
Okay. I want to say to everyone for a moment, just put on your common sense hat here. if people in the public at large, like for example, YouTube or whatever, right? Let's say YouTube believes that Nature Boy is innocent. Does that mean that he'll be found innocent at a trial? So why is it that his main priority is social media and making sure that YouTube knows that he's innocent? Because he wants to keep the money running. So that goes back to my idea that this is all to get money and this is all for attention and not actually to build his defense. Because so what if people online think you're innocent? That does not help you be found actually innocent in a court of law. And he knows that. This is to make sure that the attention and the money keeps rolling.
Well, yeah, because he was mentioning certain prominent channels to make sure you guys put the word out that I'm innocent. And you make a great point, counselor, that social media hype is not going to save him in a court of law. But this is the question. Could he just be, I work in mental health. I wonder if he's a narcissist. Let me put this up on the screen here, folks. He has a narcissistic personality. And I personally believe as a professional that there is some level of psychopath, because psychopaths are very crafty people, have intelligence. They know how to manipulate other people and take your weaknesses and work them against you. And narcissistic personality disorders involve a pattern of self-centered arrogance, thinking, and behavior, a lack of empathy, of course, sympathy, and consideration for other people. Excess need for admonishment, to feel that they're important. And when it comes to psychopaths, psychopathic or pathological, egotistic, they love to shame, they're impulsive, they're grandiose in their thinking, a sense of self-worth, lying and manipulating. And it looks like, doesn't look like, but it is. And from what I can see, that Nature Boy represents all these things. Psychopathic, lack remorse. They're manipulative. As I said before, egotistic. They have a super ego. Superficial charm, very charming, can charm your pants off of you. And they're very shallow. They have very shallow affect because they don't really have any love and sympathy for people. It's all about themselves. And most people who run and lead cults or lead people in this destructive manner have these type of traits, the narcissistic personality, and maybe potentially they have psychopathic behavior. Because anytime a man, and I won't play that, I would never play that video because it's disgusting, would make two women fight over him, and then you have a woman biting another woman's chest or breast, and some of the other sexual abuse that we have heard about allegedly that goes on, controlling people's, what appears to be controlling people's mind, has to be a sick individual. Nevertheless, I just had to put that. I just had to add that to this discussion today.
Yeah, it seemed like you describing him to a T. I mean, he calls himself God. He's saying that he is the most honorable of this earth plane. It sounds like you describing him to a T. And that somebody had asked in the chat a little while ago, how did this happen? Well, back in 2016. Somewhere around that time, he was vlogging. He started out vlogging. Well, let me just say this, let me back up. I first come to know who he was. Young Pharaoh was he was doing an interview on Sarnetta show, and Nature Boy just happened to be there. So I didn't think nothing of it at the time, right? So then a couple of months later, I saw that he was vlogging. He showed up in my algorithm. He was vlogging. If you go back to, if you just type in Carbonation TV on YouTube, go to his videos and filter to the oldest, and you'll see that he was vlogging on Back to Nature. He was showing how he lives and his goals to go to the tropics. And what happened was he gained a lot of followers, people that, like minds, people that want to go to the tropics and, veganism and stuff like that. And he was able to amass a little bit of a cult following. And that's how it started. Little by little, people started coming. And he started off as Melanation. He was in Honduras. He was many other places too. But that's how it happened. People they gravitated like minds as far as like veganism and nature. They gravitated towards him. There's a lot of younger people gravitated towards him as well. And that's how it happened. And so I started watching him because there was some it was kind of reminiscent of a cult kind of. So I started like watching him, and then I stopped watching him for a while, and then it picked back. I believe he was still in Honduras. I can't remember. I think it was no, it wasn't Honduras. I can't remember where it was, but he got into a little bit of trouble over there, and I started watching it again. And the more I started listening to what he was teaching, it reminded me of a cult, and that's when I started following it. So that's really how it started. But the definitions and stuff, that almost is him to a T. But another thing I wanted to add, it's almost like he go into different personalities. And 1 minute, like in that phone call, he was back to his regular self, and then in another instance, he's another person. Even he said it recently. In one video, he's a shapeshifter. He said if a police come to his house, he knows how to comply just to survive. And it's like he has multiple personas he put on.
Right.
And,
now, the question I would wonder, I know in my studies, in my career where I work at, I've only ran across maybe 3 guys in my whole life, and I've been at this over 25 years, who had a split personality. People don't realize people who have split personality is very rare in our society. They do exist. But then does he have a legitimate split personality, or is it just that he knows how to act? And the reason why I'm saying this is because Black people as a culture, we have had to develop survival mechanisms, right? Let's be honest. We kind of conduct ourselves differently given the environment that we're in, right? We don't talk the way we talk with our family and friends, the way we would talk in our profession. You know, let's just keep it real. We don't talk the way we talk on YouTube, the way we would talk in our profession and certain, you know what I mean? So I just look at him as a chameleon, that he can adapt himself. And that's what makes psychopaths and people like himself so dangerous, is because psychopaths can chameleon themselves to any environment. Let me just give y'all a psychology 101. Therapy groups do not work on people that are psychopaths. You never put them in therapy groups, because all they do is listen to other people's problems in the groups, and they learn the weaknesses of those people in the group, and they manipulate. I remember when I went to a conference at Napa State Hospital in California, and the most forerunner psychologist on psychopaths is Dr. Hare in Canada. And he warned United States, stop putting psychopaths in these group therapy. It does not work. There is no cure for the condition. So in my opinion, this man is not going to learn his lesson because he only cares about himself. And you can hear it on the audio where he's telling his followers what he wants them to do. But it's all back to what the Empower Esquire says. He's concerned about himself. I want to ask you this legal question too, counselor. You hear the members of this group saying how, I think it was Max, was it his ex-wife who dropped the dime on him?
Recently?
Well, because I have video of her,
his wife.
Where I'm going with this is that you had members in the house talking about, well, she gives it up easy. She's a lady of the night, things of that nature. And people seem to think if a woman is perceived as easy, or a woman is perceived as a prostitute, or has lived a life of prostitution in the past, I think that's what they were trying to say, that somehow it's all right if you still proceed in trying to sexually abuse them. Let people know legally, my sister, why that is a no-no, and you can't go by that judgment.
So I'm going to skip past me being totally concerned that people even think that.
But people do. You'd be surprised.
Wow. I mean, I realize I live in a bubble. I really realize that.
No, there are people that will make that excuse in all situations, say, well, she, come on, she lived this lifestyle. We hear it all the time. I mean, you hear it on YouTube, people talking like that. But go ahead, counselor. I'm sorry.
Well, YouTube can be a very scary place for a woman, I tell you. I try to stay out of the scary spaces, but I hear a lot of concerning things. But anywho, so listen, legally, before you engage in any type of intimate action with someone, you are supposed to receive that person's consent. Period. It does not matter what their history is. It does not matter who they were with before you. It does not matter if maybe in the past they solicited and received monetary compensation for intimate action. None of that matters. What matters is whatever it is you did to this person in an intimate manner, did you receive consent at that time? Let me take it a step further. Even previous consent doesn't count. Okay? Even previous consent. So if you give someone consent on Monday, that consent does not carry over onto Friday. Okay? It's not consent in perpetuity. Did you get consent in real time? That is what determines whether it was our word or not.
Okay.
Now, on that call you guys listened to, did you know they mentioned that in that call? They said, well, she was, you know, they talked about her past, and they said that, you know, she stopped by the house many times. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, no means no. If that in that time when she said no, she don't want to be bothered, and he continued, that's a crime. It doesn't matter what her profession is, allegedly. Doesn't matter. And they said it on that phone call, on that recorded phone call. They said it. I couldn't believe it.
Let me shout out Jaded Nerd in the house. What's going on, man? Let me give you a clap. I'm sorry about that. Had something set up wrong there, but let me give you a clap. Thank you for coming over. He does great work on his channel. Check out Jaded Nerd. He does great work on his channel. Great investigative work as well. Check him out. We got Raw B Privileges in the house. Check her out. Everybody that's in the chat room, I want to say Empress Kia, good to have you here. Everyone that's come in, Truth, everyone that I can see so far, Candy Girl that's in the house. We got QT1 is in the house, and I know I see her over in your neck of the woods all the time, Max, and you guys have great conversations. We got Q1 Film Media and Art in the house. We got Back to the Basics is in the house here. We got Perkins is in the house. Truth, just a lot of great people. Indian Exposed. Thank you all for coming over and spending your time today over here in the show. And I got my sister right here that I have on the screen here. Just modded her up. She's been very supportive of the show. We've got it's all comes out in the end. She says normal people don't think like that. And yes, counselor, YouTube is very dangerous for women. Wow. And then we have Moon Eyes is in the house. Let me give you a clap. Thank you for coming over, Moon Eyes. And Shaka Raw King had left me a message earlier before I went live. Thank you, brother, for that message. We got Queen I Know I Am. I just want to acknowledge some folks in the chat room because I know when we have these conversations, people definitely want to be acknowledged. But I think the information is the most important thing that we can gather from here. So I'm going to stop right there. Max, is there anything? And let me ask the counselor, first of all, how much more time do you have to, because folks, I am going to open up the panel for those who want to come up and give their thoughts. But counselor, how much more time do you have to give us? Because I know that you say that you're going to be going live on your channel too.
Yeah, I'm going live on my channel at 7. So I would say I can give you another 15 minutes or so I have time to prepare.
Thank you, because we want you to be able to have the time that you need to prepare. So Max, is there anything that you want to bring to gravity in terms of questions you want to ask the counselor related? Because you do Max does a great job on his channel. He breaks this down. He knows all the players involved. And I feel because of that, you are best to ask questions that I can't ask, may not know. So is there anything that you want to ask the counselor?
Well, you know, the main thing is I know that this more than likely is going to be a long process. I know he is entitled to a speedy trial.
Yes.
As of right now, from my understanding, he still has a court-appointed attorney. Do you think his attorneys will probably advise him that I know he's entitled to a speedy trial, but because of the magnitude of this case and all this mounting evidence against him, because there's a lot of video evidence out there. He put his life out there for the public. There's a lot out there. So with that being said, do you think they will advise him to, forego his right to a speedy trial if it goes that far?
So I don't ever think, and by the way, it's very rare that an attorney would ask their client to forego their right to a speedy trial.
Okay.
However, that does happen if maybe there's evidence that is still being gathered, but it happens in very small increments. So usually you'll have defense and prosecution agree to an adjournment of 30 days, 60 at the most. And they may do that, I'd say 2 to 3 times, right? Just to allow for whatever evidence is still being retrieved to be retrieved. But in this kind of case, you can expect that they won't be requesting that he do that very often, at least. And especially with him still being incarcerated, his attorneys are going to be very sensitive to allowing him to waive his right to a speedy trial, because he's not a man who's out and about, right? So in essence,
Right.
he would be waiving his right to physical liberty in this moment. And not only do criminal defense attorneys take that very seriously, the government takes that very seriously as well. So maybe they'll have an adjournment or two, but I don't foresee his defense really recommending to him that he continue to just waive his rights unless he gets pretrial release.
Can I ask this question too, Max? Because you brought up this, which is a good point, the passport issue. Well, we know that he didn't get bail. Is that right?
Yeah, the judge said no bond.
No bond.
He has another court date on the 6th.
So let's say hypothetically, and I know we shouldn't always act talking hypothetics, but let's say that there's a chance that they allow him to, he can raise the bail money. Mm-hmm. Will they see him as a flight risk given these charges and take his passport away? Because we know he has been known to go to other places in the world and travel around. And we already know that some of his members are fleeing to other places now. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I know that on that call, he said that they did take his ID and stuff. So I'm assuming they did take his passport.
So he doesn't have one of these any longer.
I'm not sure if he's still, I don't know the status of his passport, but he has been in the United States for a considerable amount of time now. He's the type that he likes to be overseas, but I don't know if there's a situation there that's keeping him here. But I was surprised he was here for this long. And I was surprised that I'm not surprised that he was in Atlanta, because he has ties to Atlanta. He owned a barbershop there, and he lived there for a considerable amount of time. So I'm not surprised that he went back to Atlanta, but I'm surprised that he stayed in the United States this long. So
okay. Jamaican girl from the chat room, and peace to everybody in that chat room. Everybody is fantastic in that chat room. Give you all a clap. I really appreciate the turnout today and the support that you're bringing there today. Jamaican girl is saying that they've already taken his passport. On the pitch, and when he was in court, and you've seen this, Max, he did not look too good. So if I take over my screen and where's those pictures at, Max? So we have him here with his lawyer. Counselor, does he still have a public defender? There's people that were talking about that. So you can see right here.
Now
that's the public defender.
That was Hawaii.
That was in Hawaii. This picture right here. This is not in Georgia.
No, that was taken in Hawaii.
Okay. What kind of, does he still have a public defender?
Yeah, right now he does. Yes. Currently. Yeah, currently. Okay. I don't know if he is retained a paid attorney yet. I'm not sure if he did, but I know according to the documents that was circulating around, he does have a court-appointed attorney. Okay. Counselor, is there anything else that is important for everyone to know who is watching this right now live, and people that will watch this on a repeat,
that people need to know fundamentally when it comes to the law with cases of this nature?
So the first thing people need to know is, as I stated earlier, it is commonplace for someone to be denied bail with these kinds of charges. There was a lot of comparison between Nature Boy and Michael Noack, and people were saying, well, Michael Noack was released. Yeah, however, you have to remember that we're talking about two different jurisdictions. And you have to also remember that in Michael Noack's case, we were made aware that there were things that had happened that the government and law enforcement seemed to have had some miscommunication. You know, it was later on discovered that there were things that law enforcement was aware of that the government, i.e. the prosecution, wasn't aware of. And so what could have happened in Michael Noack's case is that whatever had occurred between the prosecution and law enforcement maybe led to him being given bail, right? We don't know for sure, right? But what we do know is that it was two different jurisdictions and that Michael Noack had some very specific things going on that may or may not have been the result of him actually getting bail when Nature Boy was not given bail. So that's the first thing I want everyone to remember. And the next thing is the prohibition against the nude transmissions. Just whenever you think of that, just think revenge. And know that in the state of Georgia, it is illegal for you to send pictures or videos that depict someone in a nude state without their permission. Someone had said in the chat that they live in Georgia and didn't know that. So yeah, know that. And many states have this law, by the way, because there was a lot of, I don't want to say that S word either, a lot of people causing their own passing away, let's say that, because they were the victims of revenge, PORN, and it had totally ruined their life.
I think, let me ask you this too, Counselor. This is for all of us as content creators, people on YouTube. Doesn't the same thing go for, because he got himself in trouble for the transmission of sexually explicit video, what we call revenge P. Can't we on YouTube and social media learn from this that we should not? Because certainly on YouTube and other social media platforms, people do dox each other and put out people's business and things of that nature. Shouldn't this be a lesson to all of us to make sure that we don't engage in this sort of stuff too, where we're bullying someone on social media? And let's say we actually have some racy pictures of someone or some racy video, and we throw it out there on our Instagram or Twitter or things of that, or our YouTube. Shouldn't we take heed to this case with Nature Boy?
Absolutely. Content creators should not be sharing anything that depicts a person in a compromised position, or if they're lacking in clothing or anything that could be private. Even with that person's consent, you still want to be mindful about sharing that content because YouTube has its own, regulations. And also, let's be mindful about saying things like, oh, Nature Boy should get whatever in prison, or he's gonna rot in wherever. Let's not speak that way, right? Because remember that investigators and prosecutors and defense attorneys are on these videos and are online. And so you don't want to give this idea of having your mind made up about this case, because actually you could be working or playing into the hand of Nature Boy. You could create an atmosphere that allows his attorney to argue that he's being hunted, that he's disliked, or whatever the case is. So refrain from saying what you think should happen to him in prison or how much time you think he should receive, and allow the case to unfold.
Right, because we could unwarrantedly affect the case, because his lawyer can say that he can't get a fair trial. There's a demonization of him from people out here putting out narratives that could probably this is the question I have. Do you see this being a jury trial case where he'll have a quote unquote jury of his peers, where this will become before the courts on that level? Do you think it's going to be on that level, or maybe he'll have to cut some type of plea deal or something of that nature?
So you mean, do I think this case will actually go through?
Let me not say what you think, because like you always remind us, we have to speak in the law. Is there a possibility that this could go to a jury trial?
There you go. I like that question a lot more. So, yes, there is a possibility that this case would go to a jury. But just so everyone knows, a defendant can waive their right to a jury trial. So, if this case were to actually go to trial, Nature Boy and his defense attorney could decide, oh, well, you know what? We like our chances better with a judge. And there have been some instances in which defendants have waived their right to a jury trial and actually wanted a bench trial, which is a judge deciding whether the person is guilty or not because of the public having their own opinion of the person, et cetera, et cetera. So
Mm-hmm.
one of those cases where you may get a defendant waiving their right to a jury.
Okay. Is it possible that he could do a plea deal?
Oh, yeah, that's always possible. He can absolutely, and if he does a plea deal, he will more than likely want to plea, of course, to a lesser charge.
Mm-hmm.
So more than likely, you won't see him pleading guilty to the top charge, which is the R word, right? By the way, the R word carries a minimum of 25 years in the state of Georgia. So more than likely, you will not see him saying, I'm guilty of the R word, right? If he takes some sort of plea deal, you may see him saying, I'm guilty of the transmission of the whatever materials. And I'll say I'm guilty of maybe 2 counts of that. And then
Mhm.
take like a 2 to 5, right?
Take a lesser charge. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yes, he will definitely, if he takes a plea deal, plead to a lesser charge and not the R word, which is the top charge.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, counselor, because I would like to know, even if it does sound pretty, that it should be obvious, but for some of us, it may not be obvious. You know the law better than we do. Out of all the charges, what is the charge that he could possibly, if it was to come to that he could get the lesser deal on? Obviously, let me put on the screen here. Let's stay within the law and not speculation, of course. So we know this is what he has been charged with, at least from what the media has put out there and what we know. Max, you looked at the actual documents. You had the actual documents of his charges. Is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you speak on that? Because you would know that pretty well because you got the documents.
Yeah, definitely what you see right there is what he's being charged with. The R, false imprisonment, prohibition on nude. You know, that's what he is being charged with. Yes, currently. I think it's a total of 5 charges. There's 3 on the prohibition. There's 3 different charges there. Well, 3 different times, I guess.
Okay.
Along with the other 2. And
Let me.
Yeah.
So, counselor, the Empower Esquire TV, out of these 3 charges, even though it may seem obvious, but we got to ask the lawyer, what would be the lesser charge out of the 3?
So the lesser charge here would be the prohibition on those transmissions of such and such material. That is the lesser charge.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So more than likely,
sense.
If he were to agree to a plea deal, he would probably agree to say, I am guilty of the prohibition on the transmission of the materials. That is the charge that more than likely he would actually agree to, say he's guilty of. That top charge, the R word, very unlikely that he would ever want to take a plea deal that has him saying he's guilty of that, right? Mm-hmm. So more than likely it will be the lesser charge, which is that prohibition on transmission of nude materials.
Right, because I know this very well because of the kind of work that I do, that having that R suffix on your record, your C files when you go to prison, is very dangerous for you because guys in there, they don't play that. They don't want to be around guys who have that kind of record. And it can be very dangerous for you coming into a prison with that type of record. And let me go over to Max, because Max, you've been listening to the videos. You listened to him talking to his followers. You said, I believe today on your video that you can didn't you catch her son? You caught some video where it seemed that Nature Boy was concerned about surviving in the actual jail that he's in. Can you speak upon the jail that he's in, the danger down there, and his concerns that you were able to capture on your channel?
Yeah, that audio you was playing earlier, he was just in DeKalb County. He was just concerned. He was like, because of the status of my situation, it's some things I have to deal with here where I'm being housed. And he was telling this to his members. He was saying that, I'm in harm's way. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he was saying. And one of his members was like, you're God, though. But he said, I know that, but I still have to deal with this seriousness at hand. So that's pretty much what he was saying. He's talking about the status of his what he's being accused of. And yes, in jail and prison as shunned upon, as the lowest of the low. And I'm assuming that they have him segregated from the population. I'm assuming, I don't know if that's always the case, but I'm assuming that they more than likely they have him in a different part of the in a segregated area because of his charges.
Wow. Max, can you let everybody know, remind everybody, because there might be people who haven't followed your channel before, exactly how long have you personally followed Nature Boy? And I know that there's an army of people on YouTube and social media that have a lot of receipts,
yes,
a lot of information, electronic, digital information or evidence. And I know you have said several times today and weeks that is there a possibility that the news or the authorities might want to talk to some of these folks on social media that have these transmissions? I don't know, but you've made good points. So how long have you been following this, brother?
2016.
Okay.
Since 2016, on and off 2016, because like I said, I saw the interview with him and Young Pharaoh, then I kind of fell back for a minute, then I came back. And so, yeah, roughly about late 2016, 2017. And like I said, it's a lot he's put out there. There's been other vloggers that's been covering this case as well. And also Nancy Grace knows about this situation. So yeah, it's a strong possibility that if this ever goes to trial, that the mainstream media might pick it up because Nancy Grace mentioned it.
Right. Right. Counselor, the Empower Esquire TV. I don't know if that's the 15 minutes that you had to give us, because I know you need to prepare for your show. But if the time is up for you, I want to thank you for coming over. We'll do it again. I'm sure there'll be something else that'll come down the pipeline. You never know. But just let us know at any time when you feel that you need to leave the panel, or if you need to leave now. I want to be respectful of your time.
Oh, thank you. If you have further questions for me, I'll stick around for a few minutes. But
okay,
we'll go ahead and head out now.
Okay, so, Max, is there anything that you would like, since we have the counselor here, is there anything that you would like to ask that I have not been able to pop in my head to ask so far?
Sure. Yeah, it was just something that I'm glad Empowered Esquire hammered this home, that, he is presumed innocent until proven otherwise. And
yes.
So I have to be careful on what I say. I have to make sure I say allegedly. I have to be careful because I don't want to turn this into a witch hunt. You know what I mean? So
right,
that could possibly work in his favor, but and also I wanted to know about the speedy trial, and that was answered about him getting a speedy trial. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to know. So
okay,
anybody
since we have you on, I gotta ask this question. And this is a different person, but Michael Norwick, a.k.a. Brother Polite. Counselor, have you heard anything as to what is going on with his situation? Because things have kind of gone dormant a little bit.
So I haven't heard anything. Well, let's put it this way. My knowledge of the case is that they're currently in discovery posture, right?
Okay.
Which means that prosecution and defense are exchanging quote unquote evidence. That's the norm. What happens in the life of a criminal case is that the person is arrested, the person is brought to court for their charges to be explained. They enter a plea, be it guilty or not guilty. And then from there, you move on into motion and discovery phase. So the case is moving along exactly as it should, especially when you have a younger person involved. I don't want to use the MINOR word, but younger person involved.
Mm-hmm.
Cases are going to move even slower. So you're going to notice in that Michael Nowak case that it may move quite slowly. that is the norm whenever you have a younger person involved in the case, because you
Okay.
have to account for that person's school schedule. You have to account for their psychological health as well. And very often with younger victims, they need time to get therapy, to get treatment. So that case is going to move a lot slower, probably, right, than
Yes.
this case.
Okay. Now I have to ask this question, and Max on his channel, there was a video. Max, you know where I'm going here, and this is something that we on YouTube need to take heed of, because on YouTube you have to declare whether your video is for children or not. In one of the videos with Nature Boy, this whole 3 God mess that they had going on in that house. 12 people were living in that house, 14 or 16, Max?
At the time, the
It's
news
crazy.
article said 14.
Okay. There was a video, and Max, I witnessed this on your channel, where they're all dressed in black, as we know, and he's got them on their knees, telling them to stand up, get on your knees, and he had a child. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to go into details.
Right.
And anytime you are having a video where you're telling a underage minor to do something that can be seen as excruciating for them, that's dangerous. I'm wondering if they're looking at the ramification that he had kids in this household with all this mess that was going on, how that's going to play itself out in terms, because of course we know that Child Protective Services would get involved and pull the kids out of the custody of the biological mother or father. But I know this might be an off-beaten question, but what are your legal thoughts about that, counselor?
Before I even answer that question, there's someone in the chat that is talking about where their mom lives. Stop. And I say that with love, but whatever point you're trying to make, you should not be giving. Don't do it. Just please stop. All right. I know you mean well. I don't know what the point is or even what you're going back and forth about, but do not put your mother's area that she lives in the chat. Come on, people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because family members you have family members, just like you could have some family members that could join something like this, and you may not know what's going on, and you don't want people putting your stuff out there. They may not know all that's going on. They may be just as worried about their kids as you are, but they don't know what's going on, because once again, these were people that are adults. And I think that's one of the things that his people are using this whole thing about, oh, well, she is not a minor. She was an adult age. Right. But go ahead, counselor, and say what you were about to break down for us.
So in regards to children being in the household,
Mm-hmm.
That depends on the welfare of the young people in the household. So if CPS visits and they're well and they're being fed and they're being taken care of, then more than likely they will remain in the household unless this video shows something that is horrific. So unless the child is being physically harmed or something like that, more than likely after the government checks on the child, then the child will be permitted to remain in the home.
Okay. Wow. Let's have one more question, Max, before the Empower Esquire has to leave us, unfortunately.
Sure.
Is there any other legal question or curiosity question you have for the counselor?
I think she answered the main questions that I have. Now, I just wanted to point out that True, he is the father of that child, and Sheba is the mother. He did mention in a video that CPS did visit them. He mentioned it. I don't know how true it is. I'm going off of his word, but he did say that someone called CPS on them. And he said everything is fine because, and he also mentioned that, that his son is being indoctrinated into the teachings as well. He was born into it. So, yeah, he mentioned that. But as far as the other, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how this play out as far as the other members possibly getting charged or something, because I know they're still sifting through evidence probably.
Right.
We're just going to have to wait, I guess.
Yeah. Max, I do find it interesting that if you notice that many of the years that these antics were happening, it was occurring when he was in South America, right?
Right.
And in South America, he was carrying on as if he was some type of god like this.
Carbonation. What is carbonation? The Christ conscious. Who are you? Angels of the Most High, divine angels of light. Who am I? The Honorable Master Teacher Nature Boy, Commander-in-Chief of the Earth Plane, my higher self. Who am I? Queen Eliana, Commander-in-Chief of the Earth Plane, my higher self. Where do you come from? The highest frequency of the sun. And what is your mission? To collect the elite and convict the weak. Free flag, shoot! I love myself. I love myself.
So when you look at that, we had said earlier, me and Max were talking
That's
about
when they were in Mexico.
they were in Mexico at that time.
Right.
Max, we had a conversation, I think one night. A lot of these guys like Nature Boy in the beginning, they're able to captivate some of our people because some of our people want to find themselves, want to believe in something, right? So these guys kind of give you this energy like you see on there and you say, wow, you know, they're looking healthy. It looks like they've gotten away from the matrix called America. And they're talking about you're from nature, you're from God, all that sort of stuff kind of makes people feel good. But then behind all of that is the nightmare that begins. And that type of stuff is what they use. That to me, that's propaganda to seek out weak-minded people who may be easy to succumb to the suggestible behavior that he hasn't conducted on folks in that camp. What are your thoughts, Max?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I remember me being younger, trying to find myself, trying to find knowledge of self, reading different books and, you know, and listening to different people teachings and stuff. But, you know, he attracted some people. I wouldn't say he attracted all types of people, but a lot of those people that you see in that video didn't stay. A lot of those people finally got fed up and left.
Mm-hmm.
But he did, you know, present himself as, hey, you know, I'm open to everyone. Just, you know, come follow me. You know, I believe in veganism. I believe in nature. And that attracted a lot of these people. But when they got over there, you know, some people stayed, and a lot of them, they're doing other things now.
Right.
Yep.
It's the same thing that Empire Esquire. I grew up a good part of my life in the Fillmore area of San Francisco, where Jim Jones People's Temple Church was located. I used to literally walk past the church. I literally went to school with a good friend of mine, and I knew other people in the community who literally lost their whole family in that ordeal, that sickness that man inflicted. He was able, just like Nature Boy, who's able to get people's PP loans and money, allegedly. Jim Jones was able to convince black people to give up their deeds to their homes and what have you. And he was able to use the Bible and all the spirituality talk to convince black people to leave the Bay Area. He also was one of the first people, not one of the first, but he employed the things that we've seen in movies and TV where you have someone in a wheelchair and they're rolling down there and they say, I can't walk. And he touches them and then they bust out of their wheelchair that they can walk. So people begin to believe that he had powers of God. And then he went from quoting the book based on God to now saying that he was a God. It's the same formula, in my opinion, that Nature Boy is using, where you take people from one phase into another phase. And then eventually you now start saying you are God and you have them calling you God, working on the weak-mindedness of some of our people who can have a temperament mind where they are very suggestible. A person can very much suggest things to you that you may want to believe when you're seeking something because you're lost.
Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time, you know, because I have to like look at this on the outside because I'm like, I was looking at this from my perspective, like I can't see how I could follow someone like that. But there are people out here there's other cults out here. I had mentioned before, there's a guy in Russia, he calls himself the Siberian Jesus. And it's kind of the same thing. People literally thought this man is Jesus. And they followed him and gave up their worldly possessions and they followed this guy. He actually got in trouble recently, but yeah, I mean, I have to look at it like there's some people out there that will follow people like this. I don't, I have a hard time. At one point, I had a hard time believing that it was real. When you saw that presentation there, I'm like, this is like a production here, but it's real. It's very real.
Very real.
Yep.
The Empire Esquire, any last words you want to leave with the people?
No, just want to say to everyone that you're being a part of the solution, being here, having this intelligent conversation with Information Man. And again, just be mindful of what you say. Don't build up any idea that social media can decide this case, or that we've decided whether or not Nature Boy is guilty or not guilty.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming over. I want to give you a clap and being a part of the program. Thank you. You're always, when I contact you, you always find a way to work with our schedule, or my schedule, your schedule, to come on and talk about these particular issues. I predict that there'll be other unfortunate circumstances that may come out of the wash that we will be possibly talking about. Not that I want to see bad things happen, but there are things that are happening. What really disturbs me, before you go, and I said this to Max, that the things that Nature Boy was doing was akin to slavery. To see another black man have women fighting over him, black women in particular, and to have black people with their knees on their knees and doing certain things that's kin to slavery is very disturbing to me. And we tend to think that's what we expect people who don't look like us to do to us, when then some of our biggest enemies, unfortunately, are people who look like us.
Yes, all skin folk are not kinfolk.
That's right.
Yes. So, well, thank you once again for coming on board.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Thank you for being here. So what we're going to do, folks, Max, don't go anywhere. Sure. Folks, I'm going to drop a link in the chat room. Let's see. It's about 3:44 my time in the West Coast. So I can do another hour and maybe almost 2 hours, or another hour and a half of discussion. So I'm going to drop a link. Max, if there's anyone that you want to drop, send links to, that you have ability to contact, and go right ahead. But I'm going to drop a couple of links in the chat room and see if anyone wants to come up and talk about this. We want to have an intelligent conversation, folks. That's what we do over here on this show. And as well as on Max's channel, we have intelligent conversations. We try to look at these things logically. Of course, you're going to have some emotions about it, but we want to try to get to a solution, understanding. But I want to say this. I don't want to sound too, how can I say? I don't want to sound too preachy or too I told you so. I'm not going to say I told you so. But the problem I have with this is that this man has been on social media for many years. We have watched this man. And the truth of the matter is, Nature Boy should have been gotten rid of a long time ago. Now, what goes around comes around. He now has gotten his come around. It's coming now. But really, the truth of the matter, in my opinion, this type of stuff we should never tolerate. I'm not saying that anybody in the chat room or anyone listening has tolerated it, because I know people have been reporting on this and exposing this man, right? You expose the devil to the people and you hope the people take the devil down. And so I just personally feel like when we have these type of individuals, they need to be held accountable. And then we also need to always examine people who bring us these individuals, why they bring us these individuals. What is their purpose in coming to the black community with their nonsense on social media? That is, who sent them? Why did they get big following so fast? Because I do believe in social engineering, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe that there are those out there that want to distract us and get us away from what we should be focusing on, and keep us focused on the buffoonery, and keep us focused on watching other black people treat other black people in a poor manner. I do believe that. That's my thoughts, my opinion. But let me go right ahead. Max, if you want to say anything, why I drop these links, or I may play a little bit of music, why I try to drop links in there. But if you got anything you want to say, brother, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, someone told me that, God is always on time. It's all universal timing. Like, it took a while for him to, get his time in court, but today, now is the time. It's been a lot of people that have been on this situation, have been on him, applying pressure since the beginning, that they've, since they have discovered him. There's been a lot of people applying pressure, vloggers, world news, Jazzy, I believe she's in the chat. Jazzy Reloaded,
Yes.
Fundi Fee. I'm just naming them down. It's a host of others. Black Enigma is one. It's been a lot going on with this case. I mean, I remember past members that needed to get out of there. The vloggers put their links out there to raise money to get them to point A to point B. There's been so much with this storyline that I can go on for the next 8 hours, like just reminiscing on a lot of things that has happened. Like I said, there was a lot that was on video in the past, and it'll get to you if you watch it for long enough. It'll get to you. It's triggering, just when you mention the fight, when you mention the fight, and then they didn't want to fight. They did it because he wanted them to, and then he punished one of them by making her, Malia, making her apologize that she did something wrong when he's the leader of the group, and he shouldn't have let them fight in the beginning because he's the leader. He shouldn't have let them fight, but he did it, and he made Malia apologize afterwards on camera. Why? In total embarrassment on camera while people are watching, and made her kiss her feet.
It's a damn shame.
Yep. Let
me go ahead and I'm going to play a little bit of a video that I want you all to see. And I know, Max, you probably have seen these videos, these news reels on some of this stuff, but I'm gonna bring back to the basics up in just a moment. But let me get, if I can get to it, let me play this real quick.
The wife of a reported cult leader wants to tell her side of the story. Eligio Bishop, also known as Nature Boy, remains behind bars tonight, facing charges that include rape. 11 Alive's Paula Suro just finished speaking with his wife, and she joins us live at the DeKalb County Jail where Bishop is tonight. Paula?
Yeah, Jennifer, after 3 years of knowing each other, Velvet Marquez tells me Eligio Bishop forced her to marry him. Why? She says that he'd tell her that she'd then be forced to bail him out of jail if anything were to happen to him. And of course, today, something quite opposite is happening. She's telling us her side of the story.
I feel that now, looking back, I feel that I fell in love with an idea because he pretended to be someone that he wasn't.
Behind this smiling face, Velvet Marquez faced her hardest years next to Eligio Bishop.
He literally held me hostage. He took all of my identification, my passport, my birth certificate, my social, my bank cards, everything. You name it, medical documentations.
She says Bishop, the leader of the so-called cult Carbonation, went from spoiling her to abusing her when she got pregnant.
I was forced to engage in sexual activity that I did not want to do. I was still strangled on multiple occasions. So I had to willingly engage in these sexual activities because of to keep myself safe. He would abuse me in front of the women.
She had their daughter in 2019, and a year and a half later, she says he forced her to legally marry him in a Las Vegas chapel.
There was no medical attention given to us, so when I actually went into labor, I had to be rushed to the hospital 2 hours away.
For years, the cult would drive and settle across Central America. Velvet says Bishop lived off of other members' PPP loans and life savings. She gave him her $3,000 college fund, while others gave tens of thousands of dollars. And after 4 tries, she successfully ran away with their daughter with no money but hope.
My child is important. I don't understand how anybody could leave their child to be with him or to go live with him.
Now, Velvet tells me she has since received death threats from Eligio and that he even showed up to her family's home in Louisiana just months after she ran away. Jennifer?
Paula, do we know, did she ever try reaching out to law enforcement?
She tells me she did, but it was very hard to track him down because he moves so often, running away from law enforcement. But of course, now he is behind bars. Now, we also did speak to a former cult member, and we have her side of the story as well.
All right. Let me shout out Mary Jane's TV creation. She's incredible. She has a huge channel. Peace to you, my sister. And thank you for that super chat, Mary Jane TV's creation. Thank you for coming over and spending of your time to come over and bless me with the super chat. I really appreciate that. I'm very humbled by any of the support that I get from anyone today. But now we have folks on the panel, and I want everybody to give a perspective. Let's going to have an intelligent conversation here. Let me see, who do we have here? I know we have I'm going to go based on who got here, step at a time. Back to the basics. I'm glad that you're here. You're a big supporter of the show. Let us know your thoughts. If anybody has any back sound, just mute your mic so that we don't have any back sound. But back to the basics. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Peace to all here on the panel and in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I have I never really followed this individual, but what I will say is I'll speak from it from a personal spiritual perspective. It's important for people to know who they are. It's a shame that certain people they're still searching for whatever it is. Everybody has to, that everyone's on their own journey as far as their own path to spirituality. But I think it's important for people to know who they are so that they're not, manipulated into these types of situations. And that
Yes.
concerns me. I'm an ordained minister. The Most High called me to minister. He did not call me to pastor a church. So I just stay in my lane because that's not what he told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for people to know what their purpose is,
Yes.
who they are, what they are, what are they here on the planet to do. And
Yes.
my job specifically is to teach. My job is to be in the classroom as a student and as a teacher. And also to, I do believe that it looks like I might be going down the road to mental health with autistic children, because I see now that there is an attack, of course, on the Black family. There has been for many decades, but specifically for children, because you see with this, and I know I might be getting a little bit off track, with this infighting, this supposed gender war, if you have the Black man go one way, the Black woman go another way, that leaves the children exposed, and that's my concern. Is our babies. So, but I think that's important. People to know who they are, what their purpose is in life, so that they don't be led astray by these charlatans. And it's a shame because it seems that a lot of these people are coming out of the so-called conscious community. It really is a shame.
Well, you make a very good point. If we don't raise our kids, I have a daughter myself, we don't raise our kids and give them stability, and we're not there in their life, and we're not creating a very protective environment that gives them the ability to know who they are, and what their purpose is, and give them confidence in themselves, then it's easy for someone like Nature Boy to snake his way into their life and lead them astray. When people don't have purpose and they don't have focus, and they don't have any belief in themselves, and they have to go outside of themselves to someone else. And a part of that, my sister, is that, and I've said this a lot of times, I don't want to stereotype, but I've come to feel sometimes that some of our people are very Messiah oriented. We're looking always for someone to lead us somewhere. And I do believe it does come out of our religious orientation, where we're looking to be led by someone. Unfortunately, we can sometimes be led by individuals like this, and that becomes a big problem. There's nothing wrong with being spiritual and having a belief in something. It's what you're believing in and where is it leading you to. This guy is a disaster. So thank you for those statements that you made, that you just said. Sir, help me with the pronunciation of your name. Powerful name there, I can see.
Kasank, Ma'a, Kangaroo.
Kasant. Okay, I'll stick with that. But thank you for being here and joining us. And how much of the program, when the lawyer was here, we have Brother Max Worrell here. Have you been able to watch today?
Oh, yeah, pretty much everything. And if it makes it easier for you, you can just call me Q.
All right, Q. Yeah, I think I remember. I think I've been on a panel with you before a long time ago. Was it O'Shea's? Yeah, I think it was O'Shea or somebody. Sunday Rumble or something. Yeah, a long time ago. But go right ahead, brother Q. Yeah.
Well, the sister, back to the basics, said it right. But we have to when she said that a lot of these individuals are coming out of the conscious community, as you call it. I'm from the old school where I was taught by Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Smalls, and went through the whole Afrocentric movement.
Mm-hmm.
And, the structure got rid of that. One of the things that we have to keep in mind is we have to start asking a lot of questions. Like, where are these people coming from? Why are they getting a large following so quickly? The idea of Egypt, which you call Kemet, is kind of like it's the last stand, because you have your white scholars are trying to, most of them trying to pretend like it's a white civilization. And there's some scholars who are on the peripheral who know it's a black civilization but can't speak up because they'll get ostracized. But that is the battleground. That is where civilization reached its zenith. Now you have to understand that the Kemetic spiritual tradition, which I'm a minister of, has really spread wide. So to thwart that effort, you have the structure, the system has to put in agents. And they know how powerful social media is, how powerful it can rally people up and build a following.
Yes.
So these people, if you take a look at it, and I hate to use names, but your young pharaohs and all these individuals out there, they come out of nowhere, build a mass following, and lead people off the cliff. But their job as agent provocateurs is taint the Kemetic spiritual tradition, to keep people away from claiming that heritage. And that's what we have to look at, is what's going on. Most of these individuals that you see, your nature boys and all that, they are agents. These are not people who organically came up and had a following that came along. Because when you look at how these people were allowed to operate for so long of a time, when we look at certain YouTube channels where they're calling for the abortion of young black male babies, where are these people coming from, and why are they allowed to operate on YouTube? There's something behind this. That's just the way. That's just my.
Well, I believe it's social engineering. There's an agenda to lead our people off the cliff, as you said, to lead us in another direction. And what better way to do it than to get someone that looks like us, who says all the right things, that because black people are emotional people, we get really connected to people who can say things that connect with us emotionally. Max, we talked about this on your channel too. You were one of the first people that I heard around this issue of Nature Boy talking about where did these guys come from. Add to this, and I'm going to bring QI in and Coffee in as soon as possible. But Max, speak to this, brother.
Yeah, I mean, they literally just came out of the blue. Like I said, I remember Nature Boy, him and Young Pharaoh. I remember seeing them both on a certain platform. I don't want to name drop, but they came at essentially at the same time, and then they both separated, and they both gathered these mass followings in a short period of time. Within a matter of a year or two, they got this huge audience. And yeah, I mean, I've just been observing it over time, and it's not just them two, it's others too. And they have this message. And I often think that they're here to try to control young, impressionable minds, because they know that they it's like they're targeting a certain group of people they're targeting.
Yes.
And yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Well, they know that about, if I'm not mistaken, Max, 70% or more of young people of this generation are on YouTube or social media. Right. They're not on mainstream media anymore. I think CNN, Don Lemon and the whole crew over there, they're struggling to get 1 million people watching them in prime time now, because all the eyeballs are people on social media, which is why now you're seeing all this mainstream stuff coming over to social media. You're seeing celebrities and news organizations opening up because they're trying to get the eyeballs. But the problem is that these young eyeballs don't want to watch that. They want to watch people who look like them, who captivate them, like the young pharaohs that he spoke of before. But I think we should always question when someone comes out of nowhere in popularity. We should always question who, why, and when. Where'd they come from? Who sent them? You said this, brother. What's their purpose? Why are they here? How'd they grow their following? Was it organic, or was it put together to program us to get our minds off of something else that's more important for us and something that's a distraction? Can I let IQI, if I'm saying that correct, who's speak? I want to hear what you have to say, brother.
Yes, sister.
Oh, sister, I'm sorry. I apologize. And Larry, Anything Goes LLC, thank you for the super chat, brother. I always miss saying that to you when you come around.
You are listening to Information
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Thank you for the super
All right, sister, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay, and that's fine, Information Man. Here's the thing. I have been observing for a while, and I would like to know if it's just me through my observations of the ideology that is common within these cults and different online groups and different organizations, with the majority of them promoting degrading and the harm of Black women.
Mm-hmm.
So, polite at one time, Black woman is God. What's his name? Young Pharaoh. When you look at what went on with Dr. York, as well as, the Florida cult, as well as others on here, like the guy from New York that just recently did, that incident, although we would like to say these are just talking points that they all share, because they sound like robots when you hear them. They're saying the same things. And, so not only are these talking points, but when you look at the statistics of Black femicides and domestic violence and things like that amongst Black women today,
yes,
it makes me feel as though, am I the only one that feels as though that the government or the powers that be, whichever one way we want to look at it, are attacking these groups and and feel like there's harm? Because I've heard about people getting kicked off of YouTube. I've heard about there's a certain title that goes along with them by the FBI, like incels. And I was wondering if I was the only one that saw these things that way.
No, I've been for me personally, I've seen this stuff for a long time, and it just keeps continuing to ask the question for myself, what's going on here?
Well, look, if I may, let me tell you this. You must understand curation. I worked in social media, and I still work in social media. The way a certain message is allowed to permeate is that you filter out the opposing side. So there are a lot of channels where Black men and Black women are working together, but YouTube and their algorithms don't push that.
Facts.
They push the things about the gender war because it is profitable, for one thing, and it keeps us from coming together and forming an alliance to overcome this white supremacy.
Let me give you a case in point, if I could. I did a show. I told Max about this. I did a show about reparations, the reparations bill in California. I brought people on my channel that I know personally that are on the ground level of this movement in California. YouTube, there was nothing on that video that was racy, nothing. It was an intelligent conversation. YouTube, because I have a monetized channel, YouTube didn't monetize the video. They didn't even monetize the video that I did when I interviewed the vice mayor in Mason, Tennessee, the situation that was happening out there with them trying to take over a Black town. Didn't get monetized. But as soon as I do a video where I may drop a couple H-bombs here and there, more racier video, that got monetized. So I said to myself, they didn't want to monetize that video, which was really intelligent talk, but they try to monetize the videos where I might have got a little bit more raunchy in my you drop a few cuss words. And that told me everything I need to know. Or when you do a channel where you're trying to really educate your people and YouTube will suppress your views, they will suppress your notifications. I've had tons of people tell me, info, I'm not getting your notifications. But then you look at channels where black people are fighting each other and they're getting all the notifications they need. Oh, I've even been in channels where as soon as people, you can try it yourself. I wouldn't recommend it, but where people are arguing, next thing you know, the algorithms are cranking up and now people are coming in the droves and the views are going up. Or you can use the N-word. You can drop the N-word a bunch of times in your video and argue with other black people and the video gets monetized.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that too. And a lot of the bigger channels also having that problem too with the notifications. I think that's something that is broken all the way around. I've seen bigger YouTubers with 2 and 3 million subscribers, and they're lucky if they get, the numbers for them. They're lucky if they get 50,000 on a video. So it's broken. But yeah, they do. It's almost seemed like they do promote the negativity. They know it sells.
Right. And no one can tell me that YouTube was not aware of the foolishness that Nature Boy was displaying on his channel. But now, they making money, so they didn't give a damn.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And I have a quick follow up to that. Was it you Empowered Esquire, or was it you Information Man or you Max that stated that the president or the federal government is now making moves on YouTube because of certain things to put in different laws, change laws, or put in different laws when it concerns.
Yeah. I brought up there's I wish I knew, I could think of the name of the actual act. There's a communication act that protects these social media platforms. So when you had that guy, James, that did what he did in New York, and he was on YouTube espousing a lot of nonsense. And now they're looking at his videos and saying, okay, he's an incel, he's this, he's that. Well, YouTube doesn't get held accountable, and YouTube took his channel away, but all this time they allowed him to keep his channel when he was espousing all that stuff. And then as soon as he did what he did in New York, which was despicable, they took his YouTube channel away and, shut everything down. The question is, shouldn't they be held accountable for allowing this stuff to go on their platforms when they tell us, me and you, that they got all these rules that you agree to when you sign up for YouTube?
I agree.
And so what I was saying is that I think the Biden administration is looking at the Communication Act and seeing if maybe these politicians are looking at saying, maybe we should start holding the YouTubes and the Facebooks and these type of platforms accountable for allowing for a long time this type of material to fester on their platform.
I think YouTube will put that on the content creator. That's why I say you have to be careful what you say on here, because when it comes down to it, you're going to be the one to go to court.
Right.
I think that, hey, peace to everybody on the panel.
Hey,
the Information Man. Hey, Max.
Hey, how you doing, sister?
I think that there is going to be a lot of changes coming to YouTube, right? And I've already been in all the beef sectors and all of that different stuff. And it is a completely different algorithm. I've had community wall posts go down where I was basically putting out information in regards to Black knowledge, Black history, and Black culture. Nothing was said out of order. Like there was no profanity. There was nothing, derogatory at all. And the post just totally disappeared. Like I've had posts disappear just for putting the word oppression. I've had posts disappear for putting the word supremacy. So they have these bots in the algorithm, I believe, that kind of have keywords. And if you say these words, either your posts disappear, your videos go down, your video isn't monetized, because basically how they say it is that the ad sponsors don't want their ads on particular content. And so I don't know why ad sponsors don't want their ads on content that is about Black education, Black knowledge, and Black upliftment. That's
because they don't want us promoting They don't want us to promote that, so they do everything to discourage that by suppressing your numbers and making you look like you don't. Like, for example, and I'm sure some of you have seen this on your own channels. Let's say I've got 50 or 40 people watching for a rough estimate, or 60 or 70 or 80 or what have you. And then as soon as I push, I know Max, you did talk to me about this, but this is my belief in it. And then you end your stream. And then as soon as you look at your complete numbers after you end your stream, of course, there's more views coming in, hopefully. Let's say roughly you had 500 people watching when you push the end button of your screen. My question I said to Max is, if there was actually 500 people watching when I ended my stream, why isn't there not 500 people being shown in the watch box? My argument here is that I believe that there's more people watching us, consuming our content, looking at our, than we really know. And YouTube wants to make us think that we're not that significant because the mass media is competing with social media. Because anytime, Max, you broke a story before social media did about Caron. What was his name? What's his name? The son.
Carry-on Franklin.
You broke the story about Carry-on Franklin being in jail, and all the social media, mainstream media, hadn't even gotten on it yet.
Yeah, and how the algorithm works, whoever has like the most, I say reach, they will get that story. They will get that title first. Like they will get the name triggering in the algorithm first.
Yes.
So it was a couple of people that broke it before me. So they were commanding that algorithm. But yeah, mainstream media, they're still not really covering it.
Right. Now, to keep it on topic here, I bring this up is because it is no coincidence, as we're already talking about, that people like Nature Boy, the Pharaohs, and many others get these numbers because that's what they want to push on our people.
Yeah. They come. What's interesting about young Pharaoh is this. I've noticed this because he was invited to the RNC, right? And what happened was they started going back and look at some of his old videos and saw that he was saying some things they didn't like. I knew right then and there, because the mainstream media briefly took on the case. I knew eventually his page was going to go down. So guess what happened? His page went down, right? He was getting hundreds of thousands of views per video. And then he came back and he's struggling to get 5,000 views on a video, which makes me think that.
Well, he's banned.
I'm sorry.
He's banned. He's shadow banned.
He's still on YouTube. Yeah, he's shadow banned.
Yeah, but you can be shadow banned. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. He is shadow banned now.
Yeah. Let me do this because I want to be respectful to other folks on the panel. Let me go over to my frat brother over here and hear what he has to say. Kufi, let me hear what you had to say, brother, and then I'm going to bring it over to Brother Rob. And I definitely want to hear, Jassy, I definitely want to hear what you have to say, sister, because I met you on Max's channel. You've been covering this Nature Boy situation for some time, so I definitely want to hear your input. We have Code Education on. I don't know exactly who this person is, but hopefully they can bring some intelligent conversation to this discussion as well. So what's up, Fred?
Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you having me up, man. This is another great topic, and I do applaud you for accountability, because you don't find too many content creators who will, just come straight out and say what's going on, not saying that, you're accusing anyone because only the law can do that. But we saw this stuff coming, a lot of us, if you're a person that just sit back and observe, do your content, don't dwell in the foolishness. You already know where it could lead to. Right now, we're in a situation where the price of your soul, your integrity, is a money chain. Buying through manipulation. Things that are seeping into spaces. You got people you never seen before, and we're so busy fighting each other to the point to where even the January 6th people are coming into the spaces and trying to divide the progress. You see it in the Black manosphere. You see it in all of the Black sectors You see it in just different areas. Even me, I don't bother anyone. I do documentary style content, and I've been doxxed, not really doxxed, but basically stalked. From from the end of February all the way up until April 7th.
Yes.
And me being ex law enforcement, I know how to handle those type situations. But this has been by me just being on another panel. So I'm just very careful now where I go and what I do, and just let things play out. And that's the way you have to do it. But money wins out every time. You got people that will go along just to get along. For super chats. They don't care nothing about the beef. Beefs can go so far to the point to where people will really meet you. They would get on the plane and meet you. You got all of that going on. So, but far as this guy that was doing this stuff, man, I saw it, but I paid it no attention. I'm like, these are adults, but at the same time, I see that people do prey on people. They prey on the weak. And that's even with men and other men in these spaces, they do it to other men, when it comes to, hey man, I could help you get a girlfriend.
Let me say this real quick, because I'm not gonna hog up the mic here, because I want to hear from other people like yourself as well. Let me say this. I have made a conscious decision, particularly this year, to only engage on panels with people where a intelligent conversation can be had. I'm going to quote my man, Neil Fuller Jr. If you cannot have a constructive conversation, black people should stay away from each other. If the conversation cannot be constructive, which leads to a solution, that leads to something that can better us. So I've made a conscious decision, brother, that I'm not going to get involved on panels where there is a conversation about gender war. No. I want to stay away from those panels. I want to stay away from anything that can be toxic. The reason why you have people beefing with each other on YouTube is because people get on panels. They can't have a conversation without getting emotional and being angry at each other. And then they get off that panel and they hold a grudge towards that content creator or that person. And then you begin to have a problem with them. So you begin talking about them. Next thing you know, there's a beef going on. I have had enough of it. I've been on going back to the Rumble days on O'Shea's panel, I argued with dudes. I went back and forth. And when I think about it, why are you arguing with people who live 1,000 miles from you? You ain't going to change anybody's mind. And then also come to this realization that I'm not indicting anybody on the panel or anybody in the chat room, anybody listening, but there are people who I believe have mental health problems on YouTube. And they bring their problems that they have in their real life onto these platforms, and they display and project it onto people as their own form of therapy for themselves by yelling and screaming at other people. So you might be spending all your time arguing with someone, and you don't even know that they are mentally ill. They're on medication. They might be sitting in a dirty room with some dirty bid. You know what I'm saying? They might be unemployed. They might be one of the most miserable people on this earth. And you're arguing with a person who has a lot of problems in their personal life. So they bring their shit to YouTube. That's just my personal opinion. Not indicting anybody on the panel or anybody listening. But I do know that those people do exist. And they get on our panels and they cause a lot of damn problems. And I want to stay away from them as soon as possible and as much as possible.
And that's me too. And I just want to say one last thing, and if you're a good content creator, know that you got professional people watching you. Even me, from what I do, I have professors that have asked me to use my content, and that's a respectful thing to do. They're viewing us in the classroom,
Right.
And you even have coats that are reviewing us to derail the progress as well.
Facts.
Like bro Rob right here. I know who he is. He's out here doing the work. He's a school teacher, and we've all tried, just like you, information man. We've been in, to different panels and different sectors, and we just don't see the progress, and we've had to separate ourselves, So
Well, as you know, I'm gonna say it to you. You know, as alpha men, we go onward and upward towards the light. We take no back steps, and we know what a brotherhood. See, we got the manosphere. We got all these different spaces on YouTube, right? That want to be a brotherhood. And I get it. You need to have a brotherhood. You need to have sisterhood. But I know that me and you, not to negate anybody on the panel or listening, but I know me and you because we're a part of the same fraternity.
That's right.
That we know that we are a member of a brotherhood that's been around for over 100 years. And we walk in the footsteps of great black men that came out of that organization that are responsible for a lot of your black history.
That's right. Oh,
and so we know who we are, and we know what we should stand for. And that's why we always say that goes an alpha man. So but let me not get too far off the beacon path because we want to stay on subject matter here. Let me go over to brother Rob. He's been waiting very patiently. He's out of Chi-Town, Chicago. He's an educator, as you said. I want to hear what the brother has to say about this poison boy, nature boy, whatever the hell we call him.
Yeah. Man, peace, info, man. Man, thanks for having me up, man.
Yes, sir.
I ain't gonna be long. I just had some history on the nature boy situation and,
yes, sir.
And everything that got to do with that. When it first came out, I think we did a reactionary video, info.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a platform, another platform, and we did a reactionary video. This is when 30 people was in the chat, y'all.
Yeah, that was way back when.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, and shout out to you, man, for growing your platform, bro. People,
I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. It's hard when you.
It was organic. I stand here to validate you today. It was organic. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't always like this on a Sunday. But anyway, we did a reactionary video. We was against it from the beginning. We brung up comparisons to Jim Jones and all of these different things.
Damn, you know what? I forgot, man.
Yeah. It was like 2018, 2017, something like around there. You know what I mean? And we did a reactionary. You did a panel like, man, Joe, what's up with this dude? You know what I'm saying?
God, I forgot, man.
Yeah, and we talked about it back then. And so, just like the brother was saying, just like you was saying, man, our message has been consistent. And so, the issue is, it is drowned out by a lot of factors, ghost, what they call it, a ghost, blackballing your channel and all these types of things. It's a lot of things that go into it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, and this is the most dangerous thing right here on YouTube, and that's what I wanted to bring up. It is, you want to stick with your group. You know your group is espousing some nonsense. If you follow the logic to the end, you know it's detrimental to our community. But yet, because somebody says something that might, take you off your point, you will be disingenuous on YouTube and try to ride out with it or pick the parts out that fit your background, your confirmation bias. That is so dangerous. I call it the give us Barabbas syndrome. See, the Pharisees, they know who Jesus is, but the regular folks in town, do you think they really knew who Jesus was? I'm just saying, if you following the biblical analogy, you dig? They don't really know who he is. And that's when the Pharisees yell out to him, yeah, give us Barnabas. These followers, these gullible people, that's exactly what they did. They start yelling for the murderer, for the rapist, for the killer. You see? You see? And so I call it the 3 A's. This is what I talk about all the time. If you ever in my classroom, the 3 A's: apathy, ambivalence, and aloofness. Those the 3 things that I feel like make people gullible to these different types of points of view. It's all great and wonderful for you to have an opinion.
Yes.
That don't make you right.
True.
That don't make you right. And if your opinion don't line up with the master teachers, man, this is just me personally. I don't really got a whole lot of time for you. It might be entertaining. I might sit there and listen to you for a few minutes. But man, Brother Rob gonna click off info. I've been on that for a long time. If I can't have an intelligent conversation with you, it's over, fam. I'm just all right, y'all. Sometimes I don't even say nothing. Just leave the studio. You dig?
Right. Intelligent conversation is what we need. Let me do this because I want to get some more information out of people as it relates to this Nature Boy disaster. But we got my man Reese. He's in his studio waiting patiently. My brother's from Philly. I want to hear his points, and then I want to drive it back over to my man. I want to get what Code Education has to say. I want to drive it back over to Max. Oh, of course, Sister Jazzy. I want to get her point of view because she graciously promoted my channel today on her channel with her audience. And I want to get more of her thoughts because these are folks that have a lot of experience with this Nature Boy saga as it is. Brother Reese, I see you in the studio. Go right ahead, brother. There's a little bit of I'm getting some back sound. So there might be something you got to turn off. Yeah, there's some feedback. Okay, go ahead and just talk. I don't know what it is. Why am I hearing myself?
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's got something to do with your connection.
You gotta mute YouTube.
Yeah, you got your YouTube on.
What about now?
Yeah. Okay, testing. That's better. That's better. You had YouTube on, brother.
All right. I only need about 3 minutes, and I need everyone on this panel and everyone listening to listen to me very, very carefully. The people in charge of us can't do what they do alone. So they have to recruit people from our peer group, regular folk, everyday people, right? Where they get these people from is orphanages, disaster areas, foster homes, and prisons. People who are completely destitute and just completely gone, have no family, no nothing. So they're open game. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm going to give you a short chronicle, and there's a very deep lesson at the end.
Okay.
I was in federal prison when they cleaned up the hood in America in the 90s. They got everybody, and they threw us in federal jail. I was sitting with mobsters, terrorists, snitches, serial killers, people you wouldn't believe, okay? The reason why I'm telling you this is because one of them was a 17-year-old kid who stole 1 penny from everyone's check in the entire United States Armed Forces, all 5 branches, everywhere in the world. 1 penny, because he knew no one would miss it or complain about it or report it. So he had checks for thousands of dollars coming to his house every week, every month, or something like that. He did it when he was 14. We met him in jail when he was 17. One night, he mysteriously disappeared. He didn't get on a court bus. We didn't hear a cell door open up. He was at dinner one day, playing cards with us, watching basketball in the day room. Next morning, his cell was empty, mopped, cleaned, wasn't even a mattress on the slab. We don't know what happened to him. Everybody was fascinated by his story. We all had his PB number. We all reached out to him for years while we were doing our bid. Nobody could find him. Fast forward 30 years. Today, I 99% believe that I have found this man, and he is somebody high up and elite. I reached out to 2 of the other brothers that were on the tier with me. I found them on social media. I told them about this story, and I told them who I thought he was, and they both agreed. Now, I told you this chronicle because if you take a look at the people that came out of that Conscious Clown show, and a lot of these other black YouTubers that are embarrassing us on a daily basis. They all put their business out there, much too much of it. If you think about it, when you look at their backgrounds, there's all similarities all through it. They come from horrible situations, something like the one I was in, okay? So I'm not going to get too deep into that, because if I start talking too crazy, this video will be removed and maybe your channel. I just want everyone to think about what I said, because these people can't do what they've been doing alone. They have to get people from our peer group, and they've been following the same program for 1,000 years. I'm only 52 years old, so I only go back to the part where JJ was dumb and Rerun was dumb and D was ratchet and Walona was ratchet. That's as far back as I go. But I know that our behaviors are a result of an old program that goes way back, put together by our handlers who have handed down the baton to their offspring for over 1,000 years. My message to everyone is try to ignore this program as much as you can and reach within yourself and get as much as humanity as you can, and try to ignore all of this stuff and don't get pulled into it. That's all I got to say.
Information. I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I still feel like I'm getting some feedback. But there's a sister in the chat room, I think Tiffany, who has a desire as to what would be the source for the information that you are laying down on us today. I was always told you always follow the money. Very interesting what you've just said today, because I do believe that there is a bigger agenda at hand. Not to get too conspiratorial myself, but I do believe, from I'm 52 years old, I've seen a lot of things in life that I still can't figure out how. There's things that I've noticed too that has been puzzling to me. Man, powerful, brother. Quote education. Can you let us know who you are and what are your thoughts?
Hey, greetings from Central America.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a small channel, which I don't go on so much anymore, where I've had a personal experience actually with a cult here in Central America. And I've actually witnessed, observed several of these folks go from camp to camp. Some of them I've seen personally here in Central America. And I, in my experience, I'm not in my 20s, I'm not in my 30s, I'm not in my 40s, so I'm a mature adult. And being I was grounded, a working adult, I've traveled, I've had some life experiences. I wasn't so gullible, and I was grounded enough to be able to get up and walk and leave a particular type of cult, because I had a frame of reference. And you know what I'll say is this: there's certain profiles that manipulators, cults, pimps that they target, and I think that as a Afro diaspora, the community, we're not educated. And I think we're so distracted by the entertainment factor that we come in the comments and we rant or we heckle with our popcorn, and we don't ask questions. We don't ask questions. We're not very discerning. For those of us in the 20s and 30s that are on the verge of making life decisions about, should I get a corporate job? Should I go to college? Should I travel? That's the age where we're very influential. We're very easily influenced. And a lot of young people are trying to get away from something and looking for some type of adventure. I've heard the term used, a couple of terms used, knowledge, which every time I hear it, I cringe, because I'm like, what knowledge? You know, a bunch of word salad and regurgitated information. And there's just not a vetting process in general. So I would say, one, I think it's something for all of us to consider. And we have a tendency to shame and victim shame and blame and ridicule folks who many of us have not had a personal experience with a cult. I've experienced several adults with double degrees who've had tremendous assets that they've all surrendered to a cult. And many are not savvy with human psychology. We have a tendency to go so much into astrology and escapism and a lot of rhetoric and bits and pieces of information found on the internet. Some of it is new to folks in their 20s or their 30s, and folks are just trying to find their way. There's a lot of confusion. But you have folks going over to the tropics in Airbnbs, which most of the Airbnbs in the tropics, Central America, have a fantastic view. I could go outside and stand near an alley in a banana tree and take a picture with my iPhone and paint a picture to folks that are home and dissatisfied with their jobs or their relationships, and paint a picture of a fantasy. So I would say for young people and seasoned people as well, we don't have a vetting process. Like, how do you know who it is that you're talking to, and you qualify them before you make major life decisions, allow them into your purse, your panties, your pocketbook, take instruction from them. And then number two, I would say this in terms of, if you look at the patterns, there are a lot of there are distinct patterns in all of these cults. There are distinct patterns, and to be clear, there's a way that manipulators deal with men and they deal with women. They scan you for your insecurities, for life crises, health diagnoses, breakups and relationships, autism, you name it. They're scanning. They do a process called auditing. This is all specific techniques. You have some of these cult manipulators that are very, very old and savvy, as is the one that I had experience with. And also the newer generation, they watch each other. They have conversations with each other. They watch how this one got taken down, or they try to capture when somebody's getting busted. They know that the followers they had, they can capture some of their followers or capture some of the curious people that are on YouTube.
Yes.
So we're missing a vetting process. And I would also say, as a woman and as a mother, what do you do when you need protection from the quote unquote so-called protection? The new group of folks garnering a lot of information. They say knowledge, but I would say information. That sounds new to folks, that's being twisted and manipulated. A lot of this stuff is very new for traumatized people, right? And all of us have had some degree of trauma or been exposed to it. So while these people are twisting this information, women and children or people in a particular life crisis are very, very vulnerable. Maybe it's something that we don't want to admit. Maybe perhaps we give a pass to deviancy because it's black. Unfortunately.
Well, I would agree that we know that if a white man was doing all of this to black people, we wouldn't tolerate it whatsoever.
Right.
But I also said to my brother Max, who's on the panel here, that one of the things I noticed in the news reports is that they were very much focused on the fact that he had a white girl in his camp at one point in time. And of course, her family wanted her back home and out of that whole place, right? But yet there's been black families that have been concerned about their kids. So I just noticed how the media sort of slants who they want to pick as the poster child to say he did this to this young lady when he's done many things to many women there. Let me just ask you, sister, for the sake of time, you have a YouTube channel. I think DOD, peace to you, DOD, and peace to CRU. I see you in the chat room there. Welcome, brother. It's good to see you over here. You have a YouTube channel where you sort of talk about these particular issues, right?
Yes. What to do if you're in a cult, how to escape from cult.
Okay.
And I put a whole playlist together in addition to lists of black cults, white cults, expensive cults, doctor cults.
Right.
It's a whole playlist for people to get educated.
Do me this favor. Make sure you leave me a comment on this video, or you email me, because we definitely need to bring you back over on this program to go deeper into with time into what you are investigating. And I know my man Max, he probably would, he is an investigator himself. He looks into some of these phenomena as well. But let me do this for the sake of time.
Thank you.
Max, Jazzy, you all have anything you want to input? You've heard the sister say here. Let me ask you this
I
question.
actually spoke to cult education
Okay.
about the Quantumani cult in 2019. Actually, it was
Wow.
you and your sister who escaped from the Quantumani cult. It's headed by a really older gentleman. Eligio had actually contacted that cult to stay there when they were actually all in that same country together. Correct?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah, I never forget a person.
Yeah, I
Right.
remember.
Yeah.
Wow. Coded education. You were in South America. Did you encounter Nature Boy? Maybe you said this and I just didn't hear it. I'm sorry if I didn't hear it. Did you encounter Nature Boy and his followers at any point in time in South America? Did you come across any of them?
Well, actually, one distinction. First of all, I'll say that I've heard news reporters and everyone keeps saying South America. This is Central America. So a lot of times I hear someone say,
Central America. Let's be
Central
correct.
America. You could drive over here. This is Central America. That's number one. Number two, I've spoken to somebody that was in there and that left and that returned to a young lady. I will not reveal her name.
Okay.
Number three, I've seen them about 10 minutes from here. And also in this particular area, there are lots of expats and so on. This person and his crew, the families that are here were aware that he was on his way and in the area. So a word went out when he came around and he walked into a mother's restaurant. It's online. And she handled in a matter of minutes what people for years have not been able to do. She had a zero tolerance policy and exited all of them out of there. When that word went out, it took a matter of time before he was ousted out of here, out of this particular country. But we've observed and bounced from country to country to country to country. And there's so much misinformation as people in the States look on, and a lot of the information is inaccurate because, Central versus South America, people just throwing random facts all over the place. And a lot of the information is in front of people's faces, but we don't ask questions. If you would look inside a lot of the thumbnails in the videos, you would notice how many people cross camps. So I've seen him down the street like 10 minutes with his posse.
Okay.
One of them looked over that I had spoken to, gave a head nod, and just kept it moving. But I personally don't have a connection with them.
Okay, let me do this because Max, I want you and Jazzy to add some more elements to the discussion before we end today. But I got to give Treehouse a chance to speak. Sister's been waiting some time now. You've had a chance to watch this video so far and hear what the Empire Esquire has had to say. And you've heard the powerful statements of Max, and you see the work that people are doing to try to combat this nonsense. What are your thoughts, sister? You've been listening quietly and patiently on the panel so far. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've been around watching Nature Boy off and on because y'all know Malachi York and Polite is my shtick, but through the years, we have seen him evolve from a guy that was living in New York in an apartment to a man in Atlanta with 13 people basically worshiping him. And through all this, we have seen family members try to get them out. We have seen members leave and come back. We have suspicions about what have been done to members and the pregnancies that have gone on. We actually pretty much saw Mama Dia pass on live. One day she was there, the next day she was gone. Everybody has been, speaking out, saying this needs to stop. And this is a repetition of things that have gone on before. But this time we got a behind the scenes look at what actually goes on in a cult. And that's part of the difference.
This is powerful because Max talked about this on his show, that this is the first, like you just said it. This is probably the first time, because they were a cult that was on social media. Most of these cults, you don't see them on social media. We just kind of hear about what happens after people take their lives, right? And then they do documentaries and they ask a whole bunch of people they interview, what was it like? But we, for the first time, with the power of social media, we were able to see this unfold right before our eyes. Is that right, Max?
Yeah.
Jazzy?
Yeah, the cults in the past, I mean, we weren't really privy to the inner workings of the cult unless you were a part of it, or unless, like you said, information man, you lived in the area with Jim Jones.
Yes.
People around that area knew about it, but other people around the country, they didn't get privy to it until it made the mainstream media. But this is a little bit different because he shared everything online for people to see. But one thing I want to note, though, some people didn't tolerate it. There was a lot of work that was put in to actually bring pressure to him. And I witnessed it. A lot of people brought pressure to him, and it took to now for him to actually face justice. But a lot of work was put in. There was a lot of family members that were working with vloggers such as Jazzy, World News. I want to continue to mention them because they put a lot of groundwork in, which they didn't have to do. And but a lot of attention was brought to him, and it's one of the reasons why he was kicked out of some of the countries he were in, because people were calling the embassies. There was a lot of things.
I just want to point out, because I found out last night from Chuck Morgan, Max, you missed it. Hawaii was ready to just dundada him.
I remember the Hawaii situation.
They was literally, somebody was waiting, but he found the sea turtles, and that's what saved him.
Wow. Now, he caused a big mess over there in Hawaii.
Yeah,
how does this guy
protocol for the I don't want to say the word on here because that triggers the algorithm as well. But you know what I'm talking about, the vid. He was supposed to quarantine for a certain period of time. He didn't do that, and then the turtles and
the housing, the RB.
They were touching the sacred turtles,
and then they were apprehended. And then what happened was, they gave him the option to come back to the mainland, and that's what happened. He went to Los Angeles after that, and then some other things, and then he wound up in state of Georgia.
So could you say that it was God sent, that God works in mysterious ways, that a situation occurred with his behavior that led him to have to come back to the States, that now has led to this happening to him? Because I wonder if he was still able to live in Central America or South America and continue doing what he was doing, if we would be at this moment right now. Well, quite obviously, because he's not in the States, that he would still be operating and not be arrested.
Well, let me say this.
Absolutely not.
If he was still, people were still putting pressure on him. I mean, he probably would have lasted a little longer, but I'm under the belief that eventually this had to end. All cults end after a while. This was going to end eventually. It's just a matter. Sometimes it takes years for some. Some cults are still active right now that we don't know about, but it takes time to bring stuff like this down. Because you remember, he had, what is the crime? It takes time, and
I say if you stay silent, it'll all surface, for the simple fact that if you give it too much attention, they would think that, hey, I'm untouchable. And they get scared when you're quiet. And that's what's happening now. You see a whole bunch of this right now, even the Black Manosphere with, this guy going to do this stuff. And I don't want to link him to that, but they are looking at that as well.
Yeah, the thing is, people weren't quiet about it, though. There was a lot of attention being brought to him.
Even with all the noise, this was very difficult. Okay.
Yeah, very difficult.
Literally, because here was the thing. We, in the beginning, because I'm one of the closer to the beginning of Nature Boy reporters and things like that. And look, it took a long time to even get people to believe and understand that this was a cult. Okay, so there is a lack of cult education. There's also a lack of education regarding narcissistic abuse, sociopathy, and at this, I came in 2019, well, the end of 2018, and there's even discomfort in discussing domestic violence and stuff like that. We also have this sort of portion of our culture that this audience he seeks, which is where I seen there was a woman who was up here, QI Media, mentioned this when she was speaking about basically Black men being able to come up here and then just start bashing Black women, and then boom, it's an instant following because there are people who really eat that up. And so he attracts an audience that's kind of going with that too. And that audience would also windmill. I mean, before, like, I ended up going through a whole little beef thing as well. You guys were talking about that too. I ended up going through that as well. You have people who were actually attacking us for speaking out against this cult. Like, it was pretty hard. It was a lot of things that we all received death threats.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got docs behind this stuff. It was a lot. It was a lot we went through.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Excuse me. Let me please correct something. There is no videos or channels of Black men bashing Black women. We need to stop that narrative. That feeds into the narrative. I just spoke about this. I already talked about this is curation. It's about the algorithm. It's about what they want you to see and perceive as reality. So understand that.
What we do, Q, because I kind of agree with you. I'm going to take a page from my man Joe Madison. I always listen to him in the morning. Is that we take the maximum of what Black men and Black women are doing that's positive, and we minimize it. So we take the maximum and minimize it, and we take the minimum and maximize it. So we take the little number of Black people that are doing dysfunction, and we try to make it the standard bearer for this is what Black men and women are. So on social media, when we see the battle or the sexist type stuff going on, we're being led to believe that this is representation of of a problem that Black men and women have all over the damn world. When in fact, it is a problem, but it's a small segment of our community that has these problems, where you also have a segment of our community where you have Black men and Black women flourishing together and working out their differences and working together. But they never want to show you that narrative. That's why on YouTube, those channels that traffic in that get all the views. The algorithms push that through because that's who they want you to think that we are. Let me do something right now and thank, let me see, Barbie Girl Tina for the super chat. Thank you.
You are listening to.
Oops, here we go.
Thank you for the.
Thank you for that super chat, and give you a clap there. And then I think Tristan gave me a super chat as well. Let me just spin down here. A lot going on in the chat room. A lot of great people have come over to watch the program today. And Tristan gave me a super chat saying this is what YouTube is supposed to be used for. Great panels, great conversation. And Barbie Girl Tina says, Information Man bring great panels. Well, the panels are great because the people that are up here are great. And see, this is the thing. There's a lot of great people on YouTube who really can have honest conversations like this, right? So, but a lot of times when we look at YouTube, we'll think that the negative part of YouTube is all that YouTube is. There's great content creators on YouTube, great people on YouTube. It's just, my thing is, try to seek out people who represent what you're about and stick with those kind of folks. That's what I do. Like I said earlier, I want to be on panels within this space with people who are really talking real stuff and stay away from spaces that just don't reflect my values at this time. That's how I look at it. So thank you for the super chats. And I want to thank everybody that's up here. Sister Jazzy, I heard you when I was just going to use the restroom. You said you've got a lot of skin in this game in terms of following this. What is the one thing that has bothered you about the whole Nature Boy situation? Because I personally became very disturbed, and I know I've said this 1,000 times, when he had the women fighting over him, in which I believe a woman bit the other woman's breast. If I'm correct, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. He oftentimes triangulates the women against one another and have them fighting. They literally were just recently, Malia wanted to leave the house, and they chased her down the street and began to hit her, and stated that the reason why they were hitting her is because she receives all of his sexual attention. Okay. So it's pretty toxic in regards to the relationships and interactions, especially among the women. But what I would have to say probably is the most disturbing thing that I've observed while covering Nature Boy is a lot of the sexual deviancy surrounding children. He had the belief system that a woman was ready for marriage and sexual activity at the age of the first menstruation cycle. And we were like, well, some people can start theirs as young as 9 or 10. And he said it didn't matter. They were so ready to participate in those type of activities. Another time he stated when Velvet had left, and he refused to give Velvet her infant daughter at the time, they were asking what kind of milk should they feed the baby because the baby was breastfed. And he said, oh, we should just feed her basically semen, but he used a more derogatory term.
Oh my God.
There was also a time where he stated when Velvet was pregnant that she was giving birth to his second wife. There was also a time where he described having an interaction with one of the mothers of his children and stated after having that sexual activity, his son came to his private parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, I have a question.
Let me thank Brother Reese from Philly, who's on the panel with us for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
And then I want to thank Keisha Comedy Set super chat as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
Clap to both of you. Thank you. Sorry to cut in like that. Just want to make sure I acknowledge people in the chat room. A lot of great people in the chat room right now that are in there giving a lot of great statements and what have you. But go right ahead, brother. What is it that you were going to say?
Yeah, I just want to ask. I mean, because I think a lot of things are being kept quiet as well. I understand that this man is really psychotic, crazy for doing the things he's doing. But also I saw a segment where the men had come there late and he was really, on them the same way as he was with the men. So I'm trying to figure out, with the women. So I'm trying to figure out what is happening there with the men answering to him like the women.
Well, let me do something right now to remind people who weren't here earlier. Max is going to give you an update, and here we go. Max, what is that update, brother? What is that update that you brought up earlier in the show? Because some people might have missed that update. Go right ahead, brother.
Oh, just saying that some of the members have abandoned ship. And I know Solar was one. I'm trying to get confirmation. Jazzy, do you know the confirmation?
Yes, Musa on Kulu live streaming earlier today. He had an interview with Solar, and Musa was also present. Both of them are in Mexico.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so he's got a few members that have jumped ship. And this is a reminder for those of you that weren't here when the Empire Esquire was here. She's a lawyer. We asked a question about if they were to run over if they're in Mexico, what would the state try to do to apprehend them, to bring them back? Because, of course, in Mexico, you can't do bounty hunting. You can't. And she said that it depends on the resources. And because this is a state case, right, Max, versus a federal,
right,
they may not go out of their way with resources to go to Mexico to try to bring these individuals back in a case, because they might just have enough evidence either way to still convict him. But if it was a federal case, tell me if I'm wrong or right, Max, that there's a potential that if it was a federal case, they would bring more resources to bear. Is that correct?
Right. They could get the marshals involved. I mean, it's a lot they can do. But I'm not sure what's going on and why they went to Mexico. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so Musa and Solar is in Mexico right now. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like
All right.
Empowered Esquire said, that, you know, it's a state case. Maybe they're not going to spend the resources, but I know they can be subpoenaed, but it's up to them, I guess, whether they're going to come on back to the United States or not to honor that subpoena and go to court and maybe possibly testify against them.
All right, Max, remind everybody where they can find you.
Oh, thank you. You can find me at Max V World Media. You can type in Max V World, or you can type in on Instagram at Max V World 75. At Max V World 75 on Instagram. You can find me there, Max V World 75.
Okay, and then let me go over to Jazzy, and can you let everybody know where they can find you at as well on social media?
Yes, you can check me out on my YouTube channel, Jassy Reload the Asylum. You can also follow me on Instagram at Jassy _the_strap.
Okay, and then let me go over to Treehouse. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media. Obviously, you're on YouTube, but you know what I mean. Are you there, sister? Okay, she must not be here. Let me go over to Coat Education. I'm definitely going to have to talk to you too, because we need to learn as much as possible. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Okay, so the YouTube channel is called Kofi Kwatamani Fraud Cult Education. That's where they can find the different playlists, as well as some gardening and some solutions, some alternatives to cults as well.
Okay. And then let me go over to my man Reese out of Philly, and let us know where we can find you.
It's pretty simple. I'm just Reese from Philly, the Red Dragon on YouTube. I just have a little fun on my channel. Just nothing major going on over there.
Can I hear you call?
Back to the basics. Don't you have a channel?
Yes. Just type in Back to the Basics on YouTube. And if you want to check me out on Instagram, I'm at Miss Coily.
Okay. Let me go over to Q. Q, I think I remember you now. We were on a debate on O'Shea's show back in the day, and I was, some years ago when O'Shea was still doing the Sunday Rumble. If I'm not mistaken, brother, don't you have experience working in the entertainment industry or producing movies, film production, or something of that nature?
Yes, I've produced award-winning feature film. I've won several awards, and we have a new film that we're in production this summer. So my main focus is filmmaking, but it's also spirituality and understanding Kemet, indoctrinating people into a spiritual way of life. And if you want to come to my channel and learn how to meditate, learn how to do self-hypnosis, go to Kasank Ma'a Keperu.
Okay, brother. Make sure you send me an email. My email is in my YouTube channel in my About section. Send me an email, brother, so we can stay in contact, because it's been a long time since I remember being on a panel with you, and we had to sort of debate and knock off some of the nonsense that these guys were talking about. And we had to really, battle them off,
One of the things I want to say about that is I think you were on this particular debate where brother and I were disagreeing, and immediately he called me gay, and I'm just like, that's kind of like our default setting to where we disagree with somebody and we don't have a retort that is logical and void of emotionalism. And it was just such a negative thing. I mean, he eventually apologized later on, but it's, I respect platforms like yours where you have such intelligent people here. It's just wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, people do that if they can't argue your point, they can't, rebut your point, and they get frustrated. Then they begin to do shaming tactics and saying things. That's what you have on YouTube. Sometimes people will do that. But I always, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say this, because I want people to really understand this. When I did my first feature film, Bugged, and they flew me out to Cannes, I had dinner with Spike Lee, and his wife. She was really nice. She's an attorney. And I went to the press junkets, and one of the things the studio head said to me, he said, we need to come up with a selling point, how you got the money for this film. How about you sold T-shirts or something like that? And they went through the rundown. And I was like, but that's not exactly how I did it. You know, you see, what you see is smoke and mirrors most of the time in Hollywood. And I want people to really understand that you don't know who these YouTubers are. We don't know who really Nature Boy is. He could be an agent. He could not be an agent. So just be very, very careful. And also, when you have this perspective of when you're seeing Black women bashing Black men bashing Black women, you know, that's just what they're allowing you to see. You're not seeing educated brothers and sisters going to school, building up their universities, building businesses together, because they don't want you to see those images. So I just want you to really think about, you know, what you see is not reality.
That's true. You don't. Well, I've been taught a long time ago, you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, and you go by people's actions and their consistency rather than what they say. And all I can say for folks that are on this panel that I know, it's about being real about who you are and being consistent at who you are. And I'll be honest with you, I could have gotten tons of views and tons of subscribers if I was doing what the common stuff that people were doing when I came on the platform, right? Let me be a woman hater. There's a lot of things you can do that could really blow you up. But I stayed consistent to what my mission was, and I wanted to educate, I wanted to enlighten, provide information, have great guests on, interviews, and this is what I am. Now, these type of channels grow slowly because I'm not doing a lot of sensation. Now, this type of video where you're talking about like a Nature Boy, or when I've done videos on Umar, and of course someone like Polite, of course those videos are gonna get a lot of views because people are interested in these individuals because we grow up watching these guys on social media. So of course those videos are gonna buzz your channel. But if you look at my videos on this channel, I still have a consistent style of the type of content that I like to put out there when it comes to our people. So I'm just going to keep doing that no matter how long it takes my channel to grow to this direction or that direction. It's really about the information. That's why I originally came to YouTube in the first place, because I got tired of the mainstream media narrative. And I think it's important for Black women and Black men to have a voice. And I think this platform, although it does shadow ban us and does things weird with our views and our subs, it still gives you an opportunity to put your voice out there, because sometimes you get people who send you emails and tell you how much they appreciate what you're doing. So I know it is effective. As we get ready to close out here, you have anything else you want to say, brother?
Yeah. I saw in the chat, I know I shouldn't be reading the chat, QI Film and Media, she says our status in society states that we are not progressing because we need to treat each other, treat each other with respect, or treat each other better. And I just want to say this, that we are very loving, kind people, but we're put, due to social engineering, in an extraordinary position. We have outside intervention. And every time we work together to try and make progress, they see it and they intervene. So don't think that Black people are not doing the right things, making progress, working together, starting businesses, having loving relationships, raising the children right. We are, but they keep intervening. You know, this is why they have things like COINTELPRO and things of that nature.
Right. Well, we know, look, we know that we have segments of our society, like any society, where you have people that are not doing what they're supposed to do. And we use this word called unity. And if you really break down the definition of unity, it is to engage and come together with people of like minds, people who are on the same page with you. So that's why I say I don't want to unite with all Black people. I want to unite with Black people who have the same positive ideology in mind. What I mean by that is I want to be with black people who want to have an intelligent conversation, who are looking for solutions, who are looking to deal with whatever our problems are that we can get over. I don't want to be with black people who just want to be negative, and when you have a solution, they want to put your solution down. That tells you automatically they don't want to solve problems. So I want to be with black people who have that type of mindset, because that's a mindset that builds a new society. So that's what I want. That's what I want. That's the kind of situation I want to be around, you know.
Ashe.
Ashe to you too. Everybody, I want to give you a clap for being here today, because you all deserve it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Max, once again, brother, thank you for being willing to come on board today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you with Empower Esquire, because you added a lot to the program. You added an element that I couldn't have bring to the questions because of your experience in this area. And I was asking Jazzy to come back up here because I wanted to give her more kudos, but she must have stepped down. So I really appreciate her as well. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, Treehouse. I was trying to have you introduce yourself to the people in your channel, but then something happened where I guess you dropped off or something. Oh, okay. Well, let me put you front and center so you can say what you got to say and let people know where they can find you.
I am Tripsy's Treehouse, just like you see on the screen right now. I'll go ahead and drop my link in the chat. But yes. So not just Nature Boy, but all cults in general. The only way that we can, even because there's no way to get rid, quote unquote, of a cult. So the only way that we can combat them is you cannot let them get a hold in the first place. But more importantly than that, cult education, so that you know how to spot it, because they're going to go for the most vulnerable amongst whatever your population is, that being the elderly, that being people that are alone, that being young children that are seeking something and they really don't know what it is and it looks fun. By the time that they are in the cult, it is going to be too late to pull them out without great difficulty.
And you know, it also...
Well, go ahead.
You have to learn how to educate yourself on what to look for.
Yeah.
Like, don't turn into...
But that's why...
for cults, but
that's why it's great to connect with someone like Cult Education. She's come up here and she's added an element to the program today. And this is why it's good to talk to someone like herself who has been around cults. She has experience in understanding how this stuff happens, because she's, once again, let me let her speak for herself. Why is it important for us to have an education around cult education?
Well, because we don't have a frame of reference, and people a lot of times are depending on their intellect or what they can see with their eyes. And there's so much that I guarantee you cannot see through these little box screens. I guarantee you. There's some distinctions that people can make, like, let's say, for example, being isolated, right? It's one thing, there's a difference between a church. You can get up and you can go home. However, these people are in a life crisis who have cut themselves from their family members, who are isolated in another country, who are indoctrinated day after day, who have become dependent for their clothes, their shelter, their food, medical care. People cannot fathom. So that it shows a level, without being insulting, of ignorance and naivete when it comes to cults and human psychology. This is not religion. This is manipulation of the human psyche. And it's something that we need to get educated on, so you can see, what I say quite often in videos is learn the patterns. I would say the patterns are the shortcut to understanding. So we can perhaps press pause on our personal biases. And really, if we have to look at the principles or the patterns, we'd start to see these patterns showing up in individual relationships, in our houses of worship. These patterns are distinct patterns of manipulation. And when you look through the playlist, your jaw will be dropping, because you'll start to see, like, wow, it's the same pattern, the outfits, the health take, who's targeted. So we're not educated on cults, and we are in a state of disbelief because we want something to hold on to, and that's understandable. But sometimes the holding on to a concept or ideal is what blinds us and what makes us a target.
Right. Once again, let me remind you, Code Education, make sure that you, I'm going to find your channel, but make sure you email me. You will find my email in the About section. It's in there. We need to connect so we can bring you on board to go deeper into this area. Try to connect. Great. Your outlook is right on point. So, and I thank you for being here. I want to give you a clap as well. My frat cup brother, go ahead, because I'm going to get ready to close it out with. I'm going to get ready to close the show out with me and Max, but I want to hear your words as we get ready to close it out.
Yes, sir. I just say, pay attention. If you're a content creator, don't be so careless to not pay attention to your chat. You may tell the panels not to, look at what the chat is saying, but if you're a person of integrity yourself, you should also watch what comes into your chat, because people are seeping in, trolling, doing all kinds of things. And you have people here who are like us on the panel that are looking for solutions. And we're not here to, play games back and forth and to through wordplay and to disrespect, dox people. And it gets so bad at times to the point to where it's seeping through the Black manosphere through white racist people. And I'm not that person that is racist, but you have to call it out when you see it. But they are coming into the spaces and they're using politics. They're still mad about this January 6th ordeal. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. It never worked for me. So I try to, even when the brothers try to have debates on that, that's not what I do, and just like Information Man said, the shaming tactics, the same thing. They don't want the women to do gaslight. They're doing it to each other. So by that, I'll close out with that. I'm Kwafi Nino Abdanabi.
Kwafi Nino.
Yes.
Abdanabi. Yeah. Look, this is what I see happening because of these incidents like this with Nature Boy and that James character. YouTube, with these, there are going to be some changes in the law. And YouTube and other platforms like it are going to get to a point where they will be held accountable. And that's where they are going to change some stuff up, where they'll make sure that they get rid of you at the IP level. I suspect because YouTube has become more corporate, that eventually some of the ratchet stuff that does go on in YouTube and some of our spaces, eventually YouTube is going to say enough is enough, because now they're going to see some financial loss to themselves. Max, you've been on YouTube for a long time, brother. What are your thoughts about that? Do you see maybe some changes coming in the future where they make drastic changes and make the penalty that much harsher, where they stop giving you less warnings and just say you're gone at the IP level?
Yeah, I see changes coming in the future. And they always been trying to combat against misinformation. That's one thing they're always looking at. YouTube is a huge place. So it's like, this is one thing that MKBHD said. He said they address problems when it affects a certain percentage of their user base. That's when they address it. YouTube is so huge. Once it starts, a certain percentage of people start complaining, that's when they'll change something. But I'm pretty sure they're looking to, because you're talking about the Subway guy. He was heavily involved in certain spaces on YouTube. Even mentioned Nature Boy, to be honest with you. He was watching Nature Boy before he got, he was watching Nature Boy and a few other people. So
is that right? Is that right, Max? I never knew that.
Yeah, he was following us. He probably followed me as well. He was following a lot of people. So I'm sure they're probably gonna do something eventually. I know you mentioned on the government level. I'm not sure though. I mean, yeah. So
the one thing that protects
is going to be made.
Right. The one thing that, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be the communication laws if they'll change it, because if more people complain to the politicians about it, they're going to probably take whatever clause that protects platforms like YouTube, which means all YouTube's going to do is tighten the rules on us. And the minute you do something crazy, they're going to get rid of you completely. So the tolerance, let me say, will be less. That's my prediction going forward in the future, because we already know that YouTube's changed the more that it's become corporate. And ever since Google owns the majority of the company, or it is the owner of the company, that's when we saw a lot of changes.
And, information, man, let's say this. You would think, you and I are out in the Bay Area. We're out here. You would think that right in San Bruno, Cherry Street.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry Street. I've been down there several times. They have to see your face.
Yeah, and I'll be going there very soon.
I've been to Google. I've been to all of these tech places, just checking them out. But it's to the point now to where you have to know someone in security in order to get things done.
Right, that's true. If you know somebody in the inside of that company, you can get a lot done. But I already know. See, here's a little secret about YouTube that I discovered, which is why I know they don't treat all content creators the same. And Max, you probably know about this too. There's an area where there's YouTube Live, where they rank all the top live streams that are going live at once, and they rank them. The number 1 live stream, the number 2 live stream that's happening right now. And I have seen channels that have millions of subscribers, lots of views, that YouTube is pushing, and they're getting into controversial conversations and talk and saying things that that YouTube says that we can't talk about. Right? Like we can't, like they won't let us talk about this thing that affected us the last couple of years, but other channels can. Or you have channels that are sort of what you would call white nationalist types talk, and they can talk all this talk and they're getting views and they're making money for YouTube. So when I look at that and I say, wow, I watched a channel that was talking about Dr. King like a dog. White guys. And I said,
all white channel.
yeah, it's Crowder, whatever his name. And I'm saying to myself, but YouTube is ranking his video every day. And I look and I said, okay, he's got 1 million or more subscribers.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, that's why he's making money. Yeah. So they're willing to look the other way because it's an economic bottom line. He's getting lots of super chat coming through there, lots of impressions on the video.
Yeah.
But when it comes to smaller YouTubers, they have less tolerance for us because we certainly don't make them any money, the money to their liking.
Yeah, if there's a demand, I mean, they're going to push it. I mean, like you said, that person had, you said, over 1 million some followers.
Right.
Yeah.
So Max, if we had, I'm just being honest, if we had 1 million followers and every time we went live, our videos were like, there was 5,000, 20, 30,000 people in the box.
Yeah.
We could probably get away with saying a lot of stuff and YouTube would give us a little bit of a break.
A little bit of a leeway, but
because once they see all that super chat coming through there and they're seeing the click-through rates and the they're saying we're making money off of this. This is good for us. Let's just kind of give them a little leeway here.
Yeah, a little bit of leeway, but I'm still kind of cautious when like I talk, like, for example, YouTube has banned content that supports or, supports Russia or stuff like that. I can't really even say that'll trigger the algorithm, but they have started banning videos on that. So
check this out, Max. I follow a guy who's in Russia right now. His name is Sergio Brikakov.
Okay.
He has a vlog channel. He has 2 channels. He has one where he DJs. Do you know this man walks around Russia and he's talking about everything that they're telling you on the news in America is not true. See, we got food over here. We got sugar. It's not affecting us. Look at our gas prices. He's pushing the propaganda from his perspective culturally, right?
Okay.
And and when I look at it, I say, damn, the American news is telling us one thing, but this dude is in Russia showing me another. And eventually they said that they were going to shut all American companies away from Russia, right? Because of the embargoes.
Right.
Well, why is YouTube still allowing people in Russia to transmit YouTube videos? And this guy loves Putin.
Yeah. I can't talk
So
about
that tells me right there that it's hypocrisy. Here you got a Russian guy who's telling people on his channel, oh, don't listen to the propaganda. No, it's not true. And he's arguing with people it's in his chat room that are saying, what are you talking about? And of course, he can't say anything negative about Putin or his own government because they'll bust in his house at night and take his family out. And he knows it.
Not bad.
But it's the hypocrisy of YouTube because they're letting this guy transmit his channel and espouse his perspective from his country. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I know.
And they have not shut his channel down, and he gets 300 to 400 people watching a pop so far.
To interrupt, but y'all ain't looking at the chat. Jasmine just put the reason.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But I'm finna drop the link in your private chat because I gotta go.
Okay. I'm gonna get ready to shut this down. Let me see what did Jasmine put in there?
Solar ran off with all the money. Hold on one second.
Wait a minute. Let me find this message. Sorry about that, folks. I know we got off to a tantrum.
Yeah,
bit of a breaking news here.
It's like 3 minutes ago, but I just dropped the link in the back chat because I went to Jasmine channel. Thank you for making me a mod. Immortal Moral.
Okay, here we go. Read this.
Yeah.
Read that.
Solar stole. Oh, go ahead, Max.
Oh, you want me to read it? It says breaking Solar stole all the money, debit cards from the camp before he left. Also, he just took out a SBA loan for $100K. He may be with ex-member Shaka. I know who that is, since he lives in Mexico, allegedly. Yeah, Shaka. I almost forgot about him. Okay.
Max, you might want to break this story on your channel tonight, man, or something.
Shout out Immortal Morals for catching that one.
Wow.
Right. Hey, Jasmine, thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Wait a minute. Let me drop a link. Jasmine, would you like to come up on the panel just for a moment to
we can break it here, information man, on your show.
Yeah, but I would like you, man. But see, I know Max, you do a lot of investigating, so I'm pretty sure this is something that you probably are going to break on your channel as well. But Jasmine, I'm leaving a link in there if you want to espouse on this more, or if you would like to come over to Max's channel and and break this down.
Definitely going to look into it. You know, it's always something. It's never a dull moment with them. It's always something. Like I said, if people is following this, they know it's things change every day with them. So we'll see if
this is crazy, man. We up here talking about this, and then some breaking news comes in like that.
That's a situation because if that's true, and if he's in Mexico, then obviously the members there, they're going to have to figure that out. So that's crazy.
You know, and depending on part of Mexico he in, you know, they can really come get him. I know California will come get him if he's down by San Ysidro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something else.
And I'm going to get down information, man. I appreciate you having me up, brother.
Appreciate you too.
I enjoyed Max and Q and everybody that's up here. Really good conversation and things that we need to talk about that even protect content creators as well.
Right.
Kimberly.
Thank you, my brother. And a clap to you. I'm going to give you a clap. Thank you.
Kimberly Barry, she just said the T, put that out a couple of hours ago. So the T, you just type in the T. She documents stuff too. I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. I've been on the show. So.
Yeah, you might want to do some research on that because I'm curious to know where the T got her source for that information. That's powerful information, Jasmine. Thank you for giving us that information. I'll give you a clap. Appreciate that. I'm sorry about that. I got into a tantrum, and thank you, Treehouse, for telling us to pay attention here. And I appreciate everybody in the chat room. Believe me. And let me put what Kimberly is saying, just what you were reading again. The T put that out a couple hours ago. Thank you.
Aren't true.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to look into that. Max going to look into that. He's going to put the detective eye on that.
I really appreciate you covering this story because, like I said, it's almost like I'm watching a movie. It's so unbelievable. But
We're actually watching this real time, huh?
We are watching it in real time, and we're watching a development right now in real time, and it's crazy. And like I said, I'll look into it, but it's gonna be. I always get it after the fact, so I like to wait sometime. I like to wait sometime on it, so then I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because all the cobwebs are dust off after you take your time.
Yeah,
I hear you. All right. Well, I'm gonna shut everything down. I want to appreciate everybody. Let me go over to Brother Reese, see if he has any last things he want to say, because we're gonna close it out, my brother.
To the brother Q, somebody in the chat said you should make the movie about this Nature Boy story, and if you do, I demand that you let me play Nature Boy.
Okay.
Hey, listen, y'all.
That was good.
Those alphabet people are watching this. And it's no surprise, because this whole YouTube start and all this social media was designed for a purpose, to direct us in certain directions, while they're promoting to us that you can sell things on here and make money. But they also knew at the same time they were going to be able to affect behavior. Remember how they reeled us in to YouTube in the beginning? They put that video up of that American soldier being decapitated overseas in the Iraq war. Remember, it goes back that far. And then they jumped it off with bum fights, ghetto brawls, bum fights too, ghetto brawls too. And this is what brought niggas to YouTube. And then a certain person launched a gender war. So it became the popular thing to have calamity and nonsense on YouTube. Just like 30 years of Jerry Springer, 20 years of reality TV. Well, here it is on all the devices now. Now, it looks like we're the worst because we have the biggest spiritual window. So more bullshit comes into us than everybody else. That also means that we can push more of it out quicker than everyone else. So if you hear this message, I don't care how bad you are. I don't care if you shot somebody last week. I don't care if you're a whore. I don't care if you're part of this gender war. Reach inside of yourself and realize there are people out here with a new narrative, a new army coming to YouTube of people that are making sense, that don't want war and peace and happiness, and latch on to us. Challenge yourself. Challenge your maturity. Challenge yourself to get away from that BS that you're used to. Tune into the people that you're supposed to tune into, so maybe we can carry it into the future and we won't look so damn stupid 10, 20 years from now. I'm sorry I went on that rant, but hey, man, I love coming on your show, man.
I'm gonna give you a clap there.
And the church said amen.
I'm out of here, y'all. I love all of y'all.
Ashe. Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Information, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming up and joining us as well. Back to the basics. Appreciate you.
I'm just gonna say just a few words. Just love yourself, know yourself, don't fall for the okie doke, and expand the perimeters of your mind.
Facts.
Love you, beautiful Black family. Peace.
Peace.
Good talking to you. Back to basics.
You too.
And Q, thank you. Thank you. Back to the basics. Appreciate you. Q, once again, brother, thank you for coming up and adding to the content and to real reality. And you dropped a lot of gems today, so I appreciate you too as well, brother.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. You take care. Don't be a stranger. Come back. I have a lot of different shows and people that I interview and a lot of different content that I get into. So I appreciate that. And email me, brother. We need to probably connect, get you on the show as well, talk about what you're doing with your production and film making, all of that, brother. I would love to do that.
Oh, that'd be great. Will do.
All right, brother. You
Peace.
Take care of yourself. Peace. All right, that's Q. Came over to join us, and now my co-host today, Brother Max, V World. Appreciate you, brother. This is great. This was a great build today. This is probably the first time you've been on a panel with me or anything, and we need to do more of it, brother. We got great chemistry.
Definitely. I thank you for having me on. Man, this is a great production, man. I feel like, this is like a show here. You know what I mean?
That's what I try to do, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my whole goal, you know, in trying to put something on like this that people can learn something from. It's a combination of everything. So that's what I try to do. So I appreciate that.
I just want to say this, guys. If you want him to tear that algorithm up, share his video. if he can get 50 people to do it, he's not even going to have to worry about the algorithm ever again. But information. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for taking some attention out on this subject matter. I hope you do it again soon. I hope you continue to cover it. I know there's a lot going on in the world that you got to cover, but thank you for covering it. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that I need to get to, but I had to jump on this one too. But Max, do me the greatest favor, brother. Please do what you can to dig up, because I'm probably not going to do it. I want to leave it to the professionals like you. I want you to dig up what's going on with this breaking news we got today and maybe do something on that.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm going to look into it, and then I will send you what I have.
Okay, and remind people where they can find you. Make sure y'all subscribe to Brother Max V World. And I will do this. I will be dropping the link to your channel in the description of this video, along with the Empowered Esquire TV.
I appreciate it.
So I'm gonna do that, brother, most definitely. So
Thank
I appreciate
you for having me. It's been a great build. I enjoyed talking to the people on the panel. I subscribe to most everybody that was on there. So
okay, fantastic.
All right, take care of yourself now. All right, guys, y'all have a good one.
All right, everybody. All right, Max. All right, everybody. That's Max V World. Let me just say I appreciate everybody out there that came on board to pound today. I appreciate the Empower Esquire TV. Everybody that was on the panel today was fantastic. Max, Back to the Basics, Jazzy, Q, Brother Reese, Brother Rob came on. Just a lot of people. If I forgot anybody, we had Q on, QI Films. That sister was on and she was dynamic. We had Treehouse on. She was dynamic and fantastic today. Oh, I probably forgot somebody. My boy Coffee, he was on here. He was on point. Q was on point today. Everybody that came upstairs to talk. I think Coat Education, check her channel out. Definitely going to have to bring her over here so that we can learn more about how these things happen and how we need to stay away from allowing ourselves, or not just allowing ourselves, but sometimes we can get caught up in following someone that we think is leading us in the right direction. Next thing you know, we can find ourselves in a cult ourselves. So be very careful with the kind of people that you're listening to and you're spending time around. And I'm going to say this again, try to stay away from the toxic panels and things that go on YouTube. Please try to stay away from them, because it does not do your heart, your body, your mind, your spirit any good to argue with people. And I've been in arguments myself on YouTube, so I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I'm trying my best now to say, you know what, stay away from that type of this bad energy. It doesn't get you anywhere. And then you don't know what's in the mind of the people that you're arguing and debating with. They might not be screwed on too well themselves, folks. So I'm going to take a break. I'll be back live next Sunday. I want to say peace to everybody listening in Roku TV. We're on Roku TV live right now. Everybody in the Facebook world, YouTube world, be on the lookout for new content going into next weekend. I usually go live on Sundays, and sometimes I'll surprise you with a Saturday show. Just depends on what the issues are. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, The Information Man Show.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so that next time I go live, you get that notification. You can come on over and enjoy the program. Also, let me give everybody a heads up. If you look at the top of the chat room, I have another channel that I have linked up there, linked up in the top of that I have pinned up, called Info Media Live. That's a content channel, my new channel of my mini channels, where I'm giving you advice about strategies and tips to build a YouTube channel. And if you're a person out there who's thinking about creating content, or you just want to improve what you're already doing with your channel, I guarantee you that I'm going to tell you things on that channel that a lot of the bigger channels that talk about content creation are not telling you. I'm going to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear, meaning what you need to know to really get things moving and shaking. So check out that channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification over there. And I'm going to keep growing that channel organically. The content is evergreen. So those videos over there are just going to keep growing and growing little by little over time, because it's evergreen content that I'm creating over there. So check out Info Media Live. That's my new content channel. And I appreciate you all in the chat room. I want to appreciate Jamaican Girl, Barry, Narratives and Dialogues is here. Mary Jane TV Creation came over and definitely showed their brother a lot of love today. I want to thank MG. Mama is in the house. Thank you. Miss AP Players, peace and love. Thank you for coming over. Imani Briggs, thank you for coming over. Thank you. RY, thank you for your support today. You've been definitely rocking with a brother. Back to the basics. Thank you. Thank you for coming over. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
And then we got my man DOD. DOD has a channel called Black News, and he gets into a lot of different issues over there. So check out brother DOD. The brother is the real deal. I appreciate you too. Let's see here. Daniel, thank you for coming over, brother. I like that hat that you got on there too. Thank you. Now, can I pronounce this? Aspirations, excellent live. Thank you, Aspirations, for what you had to say. If you like the channel, check out my content on this channel. I think I got something for everybody on. If you look at the catalog of my videos, I think I got something for everybody on this channel. And we had a big audience today, which I really appreciated. Let me see. We got Skater. We got Lover, Skater, Lover. I'm bad with names, so sister, you have to Skater, Lover. And then we got my man over here who's doing it big on YouTube, and that's E Black. Brother E Black TV. I don't know how much you've missed of the show, brother. We had a big crowd today. Some people have left now, but big crowd came out today earlier as the numbers are going down because, you know, the stream is coming to an end. But I applaud you to watch this video or watch as much as you can, because you're going to learn a lot. We had the Empower Esquire on. She's a lawyer talking about this issue around the issue of Nature Boy. Make sure you share this video, E Black TV. And y'all go in and check out his channel. The brother's definitely doing his thing. And but E Black, I gotta tell you something. You interviewed somebody that I literally grew up with, I'm a little bit older than him, but he knows me. You interviewed JT the Bigger Figure. I grew up with JT the Bigger Figure in the Fillmore area. Know him very well. And I've been trying to get in contact with him because he knows me. But he's very busy. I think he's living out there in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe. He's doing a lot in the community. Of course, you know, he's got the rap music and he's got the production things going on. You interviewed him, but I may need your help helping me reconnect with him because he doesn't live in California anymore. And I remember him as a kid growing up because I'm 52 years old, so I got a little bit more age on me than him. But I remember him when he was much younger, when he got into the rap game. I remember people like Rapping Forte. I grew up around these people in the Fillmore area. So definitely going to have to connect with you to get that connect, because I need to get JT the Bigger Figure on this platform and shoot the breeze with him, because we go way back, you see. But thank you for being here, E Black. I want to say peace to Brother Rob, the educator from Chicago, Chi-Town. This brother is great. He says, we got to do a show on the impact of crack era. Yeah, hey, we can do that show, brother. Have no problem. I appreciate you, Brother Rob. I appreciate you. Let me see. We got Happy, Compassion, African Travel TV. Hey, what's going on, brother? African Travel TV. I appreciate you, brother. I like the name of your channel, and I'm going to have to subscribe to that channel. What I'm going to have to do if I can do it, is I'm going to have to just watch my video again and click into people's names to get to their channel so I can subscribe to your channel. Because I'm trying to look at my other computer right here. Here it is. I'm going to subscribe to you right now and see what's going on. And Mary Jane Creations TV has just super chatted me again.
Thank you for the super
And I got to do this. Uh-oh, here it comes.
Time to run it all. I wake up. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Time to run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. First I stretch. Time to run it all. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Time to run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Time to run it all.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to
Time to
subscribe
run
to
it
this
all.
channel.
I wake up. Yeah. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Time to run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Time to run it all. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Time to run it all. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Time to run it all. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady.
All right, thank you. Brother, happy companionship. I got your channel here, brother. I've just subscribed and I see you got a nice channel art on here, and I will be checking out your channel, as I will many other people that may have channels in the chat room. I'll be able to click into everyone's avatars. When I watch the repeat, I'll just take my mouse and click into the avatar. I want to thank Mary Jane TV Creation for the $10 super chat. I want to thank Sister MG Mama for giving me a super chat as well.
Thank you for the super
And I want to give you both a clap. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, brother. Check out my catalog of videos. There are some things you may enjoy because I have on my channel a variety of different things that I cover. That's why I call myself the Information Man. And I look forward to connecting with you. Maybe, hopefully, I can even get you on the show and we can talk about your travels in the motherland and things of that nature. So I really appreciate you coming over and supporting the channel today. I don't know how much you've been able to see of the channel today and the conversation that we had today, but watch some of the replay if you can. We got Keystone. Let me see if I can, this brother, we got my mother Keystone 291 Tech. And this brother has a tech channel. Check him out. It's good to see you over here, brother. And Mary Jane, always thank you for giving me that super chat. I really appreciate you. Check her out. She has a great channel. She covers a lot of black celebrity issues, and some of the drama that goes on within their world. She does a great job of it, though. I think you should really check her out. Check each other's channels out. The brother right here, Happy Companions, African Travel TV. Happy Compassion. Let me say that right. The Happy Compassion African Travel TV. He has, what I can see, is a great channel. He's got a sister right up here who's got different African dresses on. She's got a beautiful one on right now, and she's sort of modeling this outfit that she has on. That's his trailer that he has on his video. Definitely check him out. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good to me. And we got my man Narratives in the house. Thank you for coming over as always and doing your thing. Mary Jane, thank you. My sister. Mary, make sure you share this video with I know you got a big audience over there, so make sure you put this video in your community tab and share it with your audience as well. DOD, take care. It's time for me to get out of here, folks. I think you all have blessed me today with your presence, and I really appreciate that. So I'm going to mosey on down the road here and relax today, or the rest of my day, rest of my evening, I'm going to relax. I'm trying to fix something because this thing keeps sliding back and forth. I don't know why it does that. StreamYards is a trip. I'm broadcasting in the StreamYards. Oh, Glassy Kingdom. Oh, much respect to you. Oh, Glassy Kingdom. Oh, yeah. Glassy Kingdom. Oh, Glassy Kingdom. Oh, this brother is a musician. Brother from the great land of Jamaica. Brother has sensational personality, fantastic, professional, big channel. Check him out. Glassy Kingdoms. Oh, yeah. Yes. Check him out. Really appreciate this brother right here. He's the best. He's the best of the best. So it's time for me to mosey on down the road here and get out of here. I really appreciate you all. And with that said, it's time for me to move on. Peace. I'll be back with more presentations soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. The Empowered Esquire. Attorney at law. One of my great guests. I want to thank her for being on the show today. The Empowered Esquire.
truth.
All right, everybody. Take care. Thank you again. And I'll be back with more presentation. This was great today. Thank you.